This is the X&C Podcast, your Xbox newscast, featuring Colteastwood and Mag, hosting industry interviews and gaming talk live on YouTube every Monday night at 5 p.m. on the West Coast, 8 p.m. on the East Coast. For all of you listening around the world, X&C Podcast is available on demand on Spotify, Google, and Apple Podcasts. Welcome to the show. Join the chat, hit the like button, and let's get into this week's topics with the Xbox newscast. Welcome, everybody, to the XC Podcast, and it's good to see you all here. It's episode 247, and Mag and I are wearing all blue. It's great.
Wearing all blue, buddy, except one city's the good city, the other city is, well, your city. Anyways, listen, man, MLB has started, and I got to tell you, baby, the Jays are 3-0, and that's exactly what I wanted to see, man. I'm so happy. I'm so excited. Look at this. Blue Jays right here, baby. Blue Jays right there. 3-0, baby. Okamoto. Rocking the house. We got Japan in the house now representing Toronto, so we finally got our own Japanese player, okay? To hell with the Dodgers, and to hell with Ohtani and Yamamoto and all those clowns. No, garbage. We got the real deal. So, yes, I'm excited, man. I'm excited.
Shout out to you, Donnie Quezada, who just removed Cyber Gunters. Let's go Dodgers, saying, we're having some team rivalry going on here, but he says he's just kidding. So we appreciate you guys.
He timed him out for 10 seconds. That's it.
Yeah,
I would have timed him out for at least. I would have timed him out for at least an hour.
Yeah, we got Highlanders Grim who's like, let's go Dodgers for $2. So yeah, love whatever team you're gonna love. Mariners have lost 2 games in a row. I think they've only played 2. They're doing horrible. They even lost the spring training game that I went to a couple weeks ago, but that was like every player but the starters. But yeah, it was still a good time. But no MLB The Show 26. I still haven't bought it because I've been playing Crimson Desert like crazy. I'm almost 70 hours in, and you and I were talking about it this weekend, and the game's just discovery all the time. I just it's my game of the year easily. I didn't finish Resident Evil 9, but I'm so far into Crimson Desert. Yeah, I know. Yeah. I'm really enjoying it. What have you been up to?
Well, yeah, same thing. I mean, there was the patch that came in on the weekend. I think it was Sunday night, the patch for Crimson Desert, the new one that just launched or whatever. And it was too late at night. Like, I was literally in bed, and I'm looking at my phone. It says, new update available now. I'm like, come on, man. Like, don't make me get out of bed. I didn't. So what I waited is I waited till it was all done, and then I got it, and I started playing it again, and I'm like, yo, this is great. And I did. By the way, I think everybody in the chat should be actually pretty pleased with me, because y'all know, especially when you watch my live streams, I do not like puzzles in games, okay? And it's not that I don't like them. It's just it slows me down, especially when I'm streaming, right? And you have to sit there and think, and you're staring at the screen with this like slack-jawed look on your face and drool coming out the side of your mouth because you're like, how do I move those blocks? And like, that's not what you want to do when you're streaming, right?
You can't think while you're talking. I can't.
Yeah, it's tough, right? And so, like, anyways, what I ended up doing is I did a puzzle, and it was a big puzzle, and I did it all by myself. No help from mom and dad. No help from mom or dad. I did it all by myself, and it was one where I had to like fire up this like ancient generator. That's all I'm gonna say, folks. That's all I'm gonna say. Ancient generator, and it's like a multi-layered puzzle with all these different things. You have to kind of like look around, and I'm like, let me just stop and check it out for a second. So I stopped and checked.
Are you talking about the one where smoke would come out when you finished it?
Yes.
Each one.
Yes,
that's such a cool puzzle. Yes. Did that one yesterday.
I did that one. I fought the Crimson Dust guy, one of the bosses, in like a sort of like a sub boss, whatever. He wasn't a main character.
Up the mountain.
Yeah. No, not that one. There's one guy that was
you went
appearing and disappearing.
Yeah, there's you went up like a bandit camp that kind of climbed up the hill a little bit. Yeah,
and then there was like this Crimson Dust guy. He was like the black smoke monster from Lost. Remember that? He was just like this like cloud of red smoke flying around or whatever. And then I'm like, okay, so I defeated him and having a great time. I'm enjoying the game. And the thing is, what I'm liking about the game is I'm taking it slowly. So I think I'm like 25 hours or so, 25 hours into the game. And the cool thing is that I'm still in the first area, and I have no desire to like burn through this thing. I just want to just relax and marinate, explore and talk to people and do things. And I'm like, I could seriously see myself, as I was saying last week, in between games, just kind of be like, let me go do 10 hours or 12 hours in Crimson Desert. Then I'll go play Pragmata and do whatever. Then I'll go back to Crimson Desert. Then I'll go play Forza Horizon 6. Then go back to Crimson. You know what I mean? Like, it'll be the kind of thing where I keep going back to the well like throughout the year. And then eventually you're like, oh, wow, look at that. I put in 200 hours in this thing or whatever. And so I feel that, and funny enough, I've never even checked the trophy list once yet.
Well, you won't get any.
I did check it, but I checked it, but the funny thing is actually a lot of the trophies and achievements are in riddles. Did you notice that?
Yeah, it's and like so are the challenges. Yeah.
Yeah, it's so weird. Yeah, and I'm just like, okay, here we go with this nonsense. And I'm like, okay, what is this trophy worth? And I look at it and I'm like, okay, it's a gold trophy. What does it do? And it goes, on the third moon, on the fourth rising, at the, when the cock crows 3 times, you must be whatever the. And I'm like, what are you even talking about? Can't you just say kill 10 guys with a sword?
You must be wearing the cloak of virginity before climbing the mountain of despair. Yeah.
There's a lot of people I know with the cloak of virginity in my comment section.
It's awesome. I would recommend you guys, if you're playing Crimson Desert and you get frustrated with a puzzle, just grab your phone and look it up. IGN has like everything. Like you can just scroll like one page and then it'll show you the next thing to do. That's basically what I've done. I've just looked at when I'm like, oh, and I'm starting to get mad, I'll just look it up. And then it's like, you need to move this one thing. And I'm like, oh, say no more. I got it. So that's what I've been doing to enjoy the puzzles. And I've gotten some on my own as well.
Cool. I also got back into, because I dropped it for like 6 months. My family and I have got back into Borderlands 4 because we're like, hey guys, did you guys remember there was like a Borderlands game that we played for like 15 hours and then never went back to? And we're like, oh yeah, because there was so many games that drop in the fall. You know how it goes. And then all of a sudden I'm like, oh, forgot all about it. So we got back into it and we ended up playing about 6 hours, 7 hours. Well, it was closer to 7 hours over the weekend. And dude, once you get back into it, you're like, this is so addictive. Like literally the next day, my wife's like, we playing Borderlands like right now. And I'm like, okay, fine, let's go. And so we get back into it and start playing it again. And it was awesome. So yeah, it was great. It's great. Colteastwood is
I'm being summoned
by somebody off screen.
Getting a cool drink of ice water in my Seattle Mariners 0-2 cup. Thank you.
Your 0-2 cup?
Yeah. Actually, the 0-2 Mariners cup is shaped kind of like it's oblong and has holes in it. And when you try to drink out of it, all the water flows out.
It's just all over your pants.
Yeah. So, yeah.
Oh my God.
Oh crap! I almost spilled it. It's great. So, Crimson Desert's awesome game. I said the other day, I wouldn't be surprised if Crimson Desert gets a Game of the Year nomination. It'll probably be the Jeff Keighley Award Show lowest rated game to maybe get a nomination, 78, 79.
It might. And I saw some conversations on some other YouTube shows this morning with not the YouTuber, but like some of the chat were saying, should the people go back and, review it or whatever, and then no, like the product you got when you reviewed it is what you reviewed.
Absolutely.
You know what I mean? Otherwise, you'd be doing that for all eternity. You keep
going back every time that for Marathon.
Like, oh, yeah. You gets what it gets, and that's all there is to it. Now the thing is, if it comes after the fact, that's fine. It could be that Cinderella story, whatever, blah 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 blah, and it probably will be. But for a lot of people that reviewed the game, that score is the score, and that's what they were given. That was the product that they had, and the fact, and I mean, let's face it, the fact that they had fixed those things so quickly, that didn't catch them by surprise. Let's not lie to ourselves. They knew that those things were issues, and so therefore, and they were probably under the gun. They had investors busting their chops, whatever. We don't know the exact story, but they had to get the game out, and they knew exactly what the problems were with the game. And right before you could even blink twice, there were already updates like flying in 1, 2, 3, 4 updates. You're like, holy cow! And they knew, right? They knew. So I mean, that might like temper its chances at winning Game of the Year, certainly, because remember, it's not fans that are really voting on it. It's the jury, so to speak, and those are all media people, right? Media and industry people. And let's not forget, there's also a ton of huge games coming this year. And what sucks is Forza Horizon 6 is going to be put in the sports category once again. So there's that. I mean, I know racing is a sport. I know, it is. I mean, you watch Formula One, you watch, NASCAR and whatever, and it is a sport, but they always put it in that category. It'll never get that, Game of the Year nom. But there's still a ton of other games coming, man. So it's like we got a lot of year left before we start talking about December 26th.
I know we like to get started early, but the cool thing about Crimson Desert is the excitement, like the zeitgeist, like everyone's sharing, oh, I found this, I can do this.
It's cool.
It's like that discovery of people saying you can literally do this in a game. I saw somebody, you can get a spear in the game as a weapon, and some guy actually pole vaulted over a little stream with it. And I'm like, they're just like, it is a playground of playgrounds. And I would also say cool, something crazy that would get me clipped is that it's kind of this year's Elden Ring. Like it's this year's like big open world discovery game that has really kind of taken people by, well, nobody was really surprised that Elden Ring would be good, but it's taken people by surprise, this cool discovery of things they're doing in the game. And then a lot of my friends are like, this rivals how I felt when I played Skyrim. The game's not perfect. And one last thing I want to say about it is, like a game like Red Dead Redemption 2 is so amazing because it does all these great things, but it also has a really strong character and story. And if Cliff, the main character, like if his wife got, captured or murdered and you're trying to find out who did it, and you're trying to hunt down like the great overlord of Pywell, that is like the overarching enemy, which isn't really what's in the game. Like, I think it would elevate Crimson Desert to that next level.
Sure.
But I don't mind that it doesn't have like that much, that level of story.
No, you know what? Honestly, now normally I'm big on the story stuff, right? Because the story envelops you into the world, right? It takes you in there. I want to find out what happens next. And yeah, I know I saw someone say that about John Cena. And so the thing is, it's like, you get wrapped into it. You know what I mean? Because then all of a sudden you might go to bed and be like, ooh, you just kind of inadvertently walked into your own cliffhanger and you can't wait to go back the next day and find out what happens to your character and this and that. And you really get into it, and that helps with the experience. However, in this game, I also don't really feel the need that like the story, like just get, the basic story. Okay, whatever. And then you're just going in there and you're just sort of creating your own story, so to speak. You know what I mean? And so that's why I'm finding so unique about it, and I'm finding it interesting. Like Elden Ring, I have no idea what the story is from Elden Ring, and I still don't know. And I put in 120 or 130 hours, whatever it was, and I finished it, and I have no idea. Like if you were asking me what the story was about, no clue. But I had so much fun exploring, fighting clay pots and doing whatever. And I'm like, oh, what's this? And you go into a dungeon or you go into a cave, and then there's like a mini boss at the end of the cave and all kinds of cool stuff. Like that was great. So it was all about that exploration and discovery that makes it so interesting. And it just seems to be playing better and better. Like every time I turn it on, it just keeps getting better. Now, I have one last thing I'm going to say this before we move on, is that every time I turn on this bloody game, why is it I have to keep doing the brightness settings? And then I have to keep changing it to performance every single time. And I always put apply changes. And so when I get in there, I'm like, why is it so choppy? And I realize it's on balance, not performance. So every time I turn it on, I've got to redo the brightness, play the game. It continues from where I left off. And then I got to go into the settings and change it to performance every single time. I don't know. I did save Deceiver. I did save the changes because it says press
it's a bug.
X or A if you're on Xbox. It says to apply, apply changes or whatever settings. And I do it every single time. And then every time I turn it on again, I have to keep redoing it.
There was a game on Xbox Series consoles that did that, and I don't remember what it was. It was some third-party game that would, not every single time, but like every other time or every 3 times, it would switch it back to quality mode, and I'd have to change it. And I think it was one of those games where you have to restart the game once you change the performance, but you don't have to do that with Crimson Desert, right? You can just change it and then play.
Deceiver's like, it doesn't want you to play those settings.
Yeah. I've also heard that the balance setting,
I don't want you doing that.
Yeah, and I've heard if you're not on PS5 Pro, like the balance setting on PS5 and Xbox Series X is really good once you accustom yourself to the lower frame rate. But that blue number says 60% of the time, it works every time.
Every time. Yeah.
So
very good.
Yeah, that's made with Real Panther. But what do we like to have that isn't made with Real Panther, Mag, but actually gives you the power you need?
The thing is, when it comes to power, and especially with what's been going on lately in the news, in the video game world, as things keep getting more and more expensive, prices keep going up. But I can tell you one thing. There's one product out there that will give you the best performance of all time and will never go up in price, ladies and gentlemen. Will not do it because of world issues. It will not do it because of changing market conditions. I can tell you this and that. But you know what? 4xpgaming.com. Go to the website right now, 4xp, and I'll tell you this. They don't change their prices. They ain't raising them. It's not going to go up $150. You're not going to go to GameStop and they're going to say, hey, trade in your 4xp and we'll give you $69. It's not going to happen, folks. It's not going to happen because they are true to their word. They're true to their business. Now, on top of all that, I just want to mention something. This spring, ladies and gentlemen, there you go. Link is in the chat, folks. This spring, they got a pro starter kit that's available. It's going to be going on to the end of April. And the old starter kit included a shaker, 3 joysticks, which he just showed you on the screen, 1 of each flavor. But the pro starter kit is a full variety pack now, only $15. But wait, there's more. From now until the end of April, we are doing free shipping for all orders, ladies and gentlemen. You're hearing that correctly. Free shipping for all orders, and that's going to be for everybody. And I'll tell you this, grab a tub, variety pack, get this new pro starter pack. Everything shipping is absolutely free. There is no excuse anymore. None. Zero. And on top of all that, as if 4XP wasn't doing enough, and of course they got to hang out with Colteastwood, which is really difficult to do for 3 days. I don't know how they put up with them, but they did. But 4XP, they even have rewards now. Can you imagine this? No one's doing this. They got rewards. You can get 350 points just for signing up, and then reward points you can use towards discounts and other individual purchases. 1 reward point offsets the amount owed by 1 penny. Do you get that? 1 penny.
No, I don't know what that means.
So for each reward. Well, each reward point is worth a penny, right? And so you start with that, and then you go on from there. And so you can get $350 off your first purchase just for signing up. That's it. You don't have to do anything. You don't have to pay anything. You get $350 off right away. Never been a better month to do this. It's spring. It's time to get your time to get your hype on, folks. And you know what? The only way you're going to do that, you're going to get the hype, you're going to get the power. You want to level up? It's through 4xpgaming.com. Go check them out.
Yeah, thanks so much, Mag. I'm sitting here smelling the legendary blue raspberry while you're talking about it. Yeah, go pick that stuff up. Get the tub because then you can put a little extra in the scoop. Yeah. Scoop it in.
And a pro starter kit with more stuff in than ever before and rewards points. What are we talking about?
Yeah,
shout out to the guys Starbucks. Well, you're going to go get your little card stamped all the time? Never mind. You don't have to do any of that stuff.
Get your acai refresher or whatever they call it. Yeah, go ahead and get that. Yeah. Be a real gamer and get 4XP. They're awesome. I just hung out and played Toxic Commando with the 4XP guys, the founders, and with that blue number. So we were shooting mega zombies all night. That game's pretty fun.
That is so cool.
They're awesome. So we've got a whole bunch of, I got it up on the screen. Yeah. It says $50 for free shipping, but it's free shipping right now, as Mag says. Thanks for covering all that, Mag. Let's talk about the gaming news, because some of the older stale news, because we do the show on a Monday and usually the worst things happen on a Friday. Last week, PlayStation announced that they were closing down a partnered studio. It's not one of their first party studios, but it's a partnered studio that they are managing and that they help fund. They closed down the studio. What was it called? Deviation Games?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah. God, the guy's name. Oh, I literally had it on the tip of my tongue. The actual guy's name who was running the studio. But
it's like something James Blunt or Jonathan Blue.
Yeah.
Blunder, Jason Blunder, Jason.
Yeah.
Blonase, something like that. Wait, is that a word you're not supposed
Jason
to say?
Blundell. There you go. Jason Blundell.
That's it. There you go. See, now my wife's getting mad at me because that's what I do is I work out a name like that until the chat gets it. You guys wouldn't know what his name was until I said all those names, right?
There Dark Outlaw. That was the name which Sony just shut down. Wasn't working.
Oh yeah,
Deviation. They weren't working on a live service. So here's the interesting thing. James Blunt, isn't he a singer?
Yeah, he is, and he also is. Got fired from PlayStation.
But here's the thing. Now, if can you imagine that? It's like, your singing is awful. You need to go. Sorry.
Good song. 1973 is actually a good song. I don't know where I found it on. Like, it dropped up on Spotify one day, and I'm like, I don't know. I don't like James Blunt, but I actually like that song. Anyway, sorry, Mag. Go for it.
He's all right. I mean, if he's on the radio, I'm not going to turn it off. But I'm not going to actively seek him out. You know what I mean? But do
you have a candle in the window with James Blunt's
waiting
face
for James
on it?
Blunt. Yeah, just waiting for a James Blunt song to show up on the radio, and then I have like my little ghetto blaster, so that I got the record button weighted, so that when the radio plays it, you press record right away, and hope the DJ would shut up. Anybody old enough to remember doing that?
Well, I was gonna say my oldest brother, not my younger brother, who does Under the Bus podcast. My older brother has a music podcast, and they said the other day, "Oh, I remember listening to that song with the ghetto blaster." And he goes, "Oop, we can't can we say Ghetto Blaster? I'm like listening to his show going, yes, you can say Ghetto Blaster.
That's
like
what
it was like some
called.
sort of inappropriate term. What are we talking about?
Yeah,
everybody had a Ghetto Blaster.
Everybody had one. You just walk
around
around
what
with them
you
in
were,
school,
who you were,
recess.
It didn't matter.
And you had to, and like you were listening to, Word Up,
or you're listening to,
or like Phil Collins or Duran Duran walking around 7 in the Ragged Tiger with my Ghetto Blaster on my shoulder.
Yeah. Yeah.
And the coolest kids in school always had like the biggest one. Like it was like the bigger the radio, like, the more popular you were. And so like there was guys that had ones that were like half the size of a Hyundai on their shoulder and like walking around like at recess time,
And I don't remember if they actually sounded good. I don't know if they actually had any like bass response on them, but they looked cool. They were freaking chrome, like aluminum looking. And
I mean, they were pretty loud.
Front loading a tape deck loud in there. Yeah. Anyway, well, James Blunt and the Ghetto Blaster. We'll mark that on the timestamps.
Let's get back to Sony closing that studio. How the hell did that happen? Yeah.
Well, I mean, I don't know how much you want to say about it, Mag, but they had another rake they stepped on the next day. So, all
right. Well, let's start with the one rake, the smaller rake, and then we'll go to a bigger rake, the much bigger rake. So they closed us to Jason Blundell, or forever it's going to be James Blunt, ladies and gentlemen, just so we know. They closed down that studio. Now, my understanding is that he had another studio that he had started in 2024, which also got shut down. So this guy's like latest track record hadn't been doing well. Now, the only thing I could think of, he had an interview and he was talking about it, and he said that it was not a live service game. It was a single player experience. And he made some sort of a reference that's saying, it was a bloody good time or something like that, which some people were interpreting that as because he did previous work on zombies. They think maybe it was some kind of a zombie game. And he said it was going to be pretty cool and all that kind of stuff. And I'm like, all right, whatever. But here's the thing. At the end of the day, if they had something hot, I don't care what I don't care what company owns them. It was Microsoft, PlayStation, or Nintendo. If it was something that was super hot, they'd be like, all right, we'll give you another year. Keep working on it. Mm-hmm. Give us some progress. We'll come every couple months to check on your progress, whatever else. The fact that they had absolutely nothing to show when they formed the studio and whatever else, obviously they felt that it was not going to be worth their time and money. So they probably said, nah, forget it. We'll just part ways and all that. And that's all there is to it. Now, there's really not much else to say there. But the thing is, I see some of the, the media outlets talking and whatever, and they're like, they close another studio. And I'm like, I would, they said, aren't you concerned? And I said, I would be more concerned if they closed down like Naughty Dog. You know what I mean? Like an actual studio, like a Guerrilla Games or something. Like if they closed a big studio, that's different. A studio that produced literally nothing, whatever. However, the next day, let's talk about the next day. My goodness.
Yeah, this next piece of PlayStation news actually puts shockwaves through many changes we're going to talk about today. But you and I have sat here on the show for well over a year and lambasted Xbox for having the most overpriced, incompetent consoles in comparison to the PlayStation when it comes to price point. Even the Series S, you might as well buy a digital PS5 because of the price hike. And finally, PlayStation said they were hiking the prices, which brought them up over $100 to $200 per model. They have the digital PS5, the PS5 regular with the disc, and then the PS5 Pro, which I'll have Mag speak on in detail because he did a great video about it. But I have to, before we talk about those prices, I have to say what PlayStation said recently, because in February, Sony, the executives at Sony said that we can see all the way through March 2026 where prices and profitability for the PS5 will be intact. And they said this during the RAM crisis shortage, the AI bubble exploding. They said that they've purchased enough RAM where they won't need to hike prices. They said that instead of hiking prices on the console, they're going to monetize their fan base. They, I don't want to say they made promises, but they made a lot of claims to their investors, their shareholders, and their customers that they wouldn't need to increase the price of consoles. Not only did they increase them, but they did them globally, like in North America, which is their worst place to increase prices because it's where their core audience is. So let's see, it's right here, directly from Sony. Here's proof that Sony said they were making profit. The PlayStation 5 will maintain its current sales profitability through fiscal year 2025, which ends at the end of March 2026. And after that period, it's possible the PS5 and potentially the PS5 Pro will be sold for less profit than it is now. I'm going to repeat that and then give it to Meg. They said in March 2026, they may have to increase prices without saying it, but at that point, it'll be sold for less profit. So, Meg, do you have the numbers? How much did they increase? I've got them right here, too. But tell me what your take is on this.
Well, I was going to say, it's the base models went up $100, but the bigger one was the PS5 Pro, which, and then the Portal went up another $50, and then the Pro, which was the bigger one, that went up $150. Now, the thing is, this probably wouldn't have been so bad if they didn't just reveal all these wonderful features just like it was like not even 2 weeks before. And I'm thinking to myself as I'm reading the articles, I'm like, wow, PSSR 2 is hitting some major strides, some major advantages there. Wow, this is great, blah, 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 blah. And then they did an update to the Portal as well. I'm like, wow, okay, on the hardware front, Sony is smoking right now. This is great. And then all of a sudden they're like, yeah, now it's going to get more expensive. And I'm like, well, damn. But you know what? I'll give them this. At least they gave everybody like 2 weeks heads up before it went up in price, because it doesn't go up till the 2nd. And the funny thing is, whether people think this is nefarious or not, and it might be, just for all we know, is that this could have just been like a first quarter boost to be like, let's scare everybody and make them buy a Pro. And I'm hearing stories. I see some people in the chat saying the same thing. They're like, worked for me. I went and bought a Pro, and I'm hearing that Pro is getting sold out everywhere. Not everywhere, but in a lot of places. Like Amazon was selling out of Pros. GameStop, it was number one. Yeah, it was a number one purchased hardware on Amazon. It was selling out at GameStops in different various locations. I saw people reporting on it. And I'm like, well, I guess it worked in that respect, because people are trying to future-proof themselves for those bigger titles later in the year, particularly Modern Warfare 4, but more so Grand Theft Auto 6, because they want to play the better experience on, pretty much guaranteed the game of the century up to this point. So, you know what I mean? I know it sounds really sort of melodramatic, but I mean, come on, man, that game is going to be monstrous. And people are saying the same thing. It's like, it's going to be the biggest media release ever. And it's not just video games. We're talking movies. We're talking television.
It's so big. Even Xbox will sell consoles that season. Yeah.
Well, they did. Like I told you before, they refurbished ones that weren't selling in countries that stopped selling them. They took them back and refurbished them, and they're putting them back on the market for people that are going to move from Xbox One and want to stay in the ecosystem and will buy a Series X or a Series S or whatever.
Yeah, guys, there's like
bringing them back.
There's like 30 million people still on Xbox One, and same thing with
it's
PlayStation,
totally wild.
Right? They know there's like 30 to 50 million people still on the PS4, and they want them to move forward. And they're going to have to, because Maggie said
they don't have choice, dude.
Like COD this year is one of the reasons, right? And
Modern
GTA.
Warfare 4 is going to be a big reason, dude. And that's a Microsoft first-party title, right? And they're publishing it as well. So not only is it going to Xbox PC, it's going to PlayStation as well. And they need people to move off these consoles. And the thing is, at what point, though, when you start thinking about it, it's like, how long are you going to carry the 6 years of dead weight? Where you're like, guys, come on. You know what I mean? Like, let's get it going. Like, I mean, if you want to be in this, let's face it, this is a very expensive hobby, and it's getting more expensive by the day, which sucks. However, in my video, I did talk about, the bigger problem in all of this is that you're pricing the casuals out of traditional gaming. And what I mean by traditional gaming is buy a console, buy the game, play the game. You know what I mean? Yeah. And it's like,
a few $100 investment.
Those people out. And if you look at it, for example, Sony particularly is more of the casual. I mean, obviously it has a hardcore base, just like everybody else.
You actually can't. You know who you're closing out,
there, dude.
Yeah, yeah, you do. You're actually closing out the kids, which are your most important generation to adopt into the PlayStation or Xbox moving forward, right? Like, if you're a 35-year-old guy with a job or girl with a job, like, and you really want a gaming device, you'll buy one. But if your 14-year-old really wants a PlayStation, and mom and dad are now looking at $700 or
$1,000 for me.
Yeah, in the US, it's
$1,000 for me. $1,250 for the PS5 Pro, as in $1,250 plus tax. Whatever, it's insane.
It's $600 US for the disc-based PS5. Like, if you've got, let's say somebody's got a 14-year-old son that wants a PS5 and he wants to bring some of his PS4 games up with him on disc or whatever, so he wants digital. Right. Doesn't really matter. It's I'm sorry, that's the digital price. Yeah. It's $600 for the digital
price. Yeah, for the digital.
Yeah.
I bought that for $400, bro. I bought that for $400 bucks 6 years ago, and it still works. Mind you, the power source burned out on it a couple of years ago, and the dude that I got up the street that fixes consoles, he fixed it in 6 minutes, 7 minutes max. And I brought it to him, and he changed out the power source. What's that? He blew on it. Yeah, that was it. He goes, "That'll be $150, sir." I'm like, "Thanks." That's not the no. Never mind. I was about to make a very inappropriate joke about. Never mind. I won't even say it. What's up, El Nino? How you doing?
My PS5. Appreciate
I won't say it. Now the thing is no, he fixed the power source, charged me $100. That was it, done. And then it's working like a charm. I gave it to my daughter, and that thing is just like barreling. Like, and that's 6 years old. I paid $400. Now you're paying obviously $200 more. I did hear something else. Now there's gonna be a couple things I'm gonna be saying tonight that are gonna be big grain of salt things that I'm not making videos about, not doing anything. But I did hear some things out in the wild, and they were from some pretty important people, but it was just a couple of things. Now, one thing in terms of this Sony situation, and I was told I could talk about it, but again, grain of salt, folks. Okay, I'm not saying this is like fact or anything else like that. We'll have to wait and see. And I'm doing the same thing. Like I said, I'm not running out making a video tomorrow about it. However, did hear this through some back alleys that Sony's partners that they make their hardware with found out that actually Sony was planning and is still planning on producing their own RAM and SSDs in-house. They would be manufacturing. So now here's the interesting part. That is why they walked away from the Sony Bravia name. They sold it. They sold the Bravia name.
Like they're going to take an old motorcycle garage or something and start making RAM out of there?
Like out of their garages.
Guys in third world countries
with a hammer and sickle. Ting, ting,
with no shoes
like
on,
elves.
like pouring liquid metal. Yeah. Like those videos of the Indian guys
Dana
making...
Carvey with... Yeah, they got Dana Carvey with a couple of elves there, and he's hammering like ram, like he's making the sword for Aragorn. Ting, ting, ting. Anyways, that's something that's been said. It says that they're actually they're entering the RAM and SSD market, and as a result of that, the partners were not happy, and they altered their terms, of which Sony had to make the price change.
Which is crazy because the report was that they bought enough RAM to get them through to avoid the price hike, and
that is what I heard too. We heard the same thing. That said it was going to carry them for the rest of the year. Now, here's the thing though. Did they sell more than they anticipated and they're like, oh crap, I guess we sold more than we thought and we ran out? Or they're protecting their own ass, which I think it's probably more, option B.
Yeah.
These corporations are not looking out for us. Like they're not looking out for me, you, or the chat. They don't care. They don't care about us. Their bottom line is all that's important, right? So
yeah, and I'm going to say something that certain people might not like, but I personally, this is my personal opinion. I personally feel that the new price hike for the consoles, $650, $600, $900 for the three models of PS5. I personally feel that PlayStation has set those prices so they can continue to have at least a couple of bucks of profit on those consoles, which is what they've been doing since 2021. I mean, there are reports that maybe past 2023 or 2024, maybe when they weren't making a profit anymore on the PS5. But when Sony says in their own words, if I hit back one, that they want to keep the profitability intact and will be sold for less profit than it is now, it leads me to believe that the new $600 price point or $650 price point of the base model PS5 is so they can continue to be in the profitability margin. Why not? You're the number one sold console next to the Switch, but you're a hot selling console, 100 million sold. And why would you start losing money on a device that continues to make money? And I think that I put out a tweet saying, this is what being number one sold in consoles gets you, disgusting. And people got mad at me. But the truth is that if PlayStation was not at the top spot, they would be looking at subsidizing and losing a bit of money. And this is a reason why I got in a big fight with a friend of mine about the PS6 was supposedly going to be $600 in 2027. Now that's impossible. The PS6 has to be, let me open this up. It has to start at $900 because how in 2027 do you turn around, let's say November 7th, the PS6 comes out. How do you magically say, the PS6 is going to be the same price as PS5 Pro or lower. People will be like, oh, they'll lower the price then. I'm like, when PlayStation decides to lower the price, which they probably will during the holidays, they'll probably take $50 or maybe $100 like they did last year, and they put it back. But how do you sell a brand new, twice as powerful next generation PS6 for anything less than the $700 or $800 or $900 price point? I don't think it's possible. So we covered that quite thoroughly last week. I don't want to beat the dead pony any more than that. But
of course, it's really cold. There's one other thing I was thinking about. I saw that there was reports from a credible hardware insider. I can't remember it for the life of me now. And he was saying just the other day that the PS6 from what
Kepler L2.
What was that? Who was?
Kepler L2. Yeah.
Kepler. Okay, so he's saying that cost was at $762, right? And I'm like, okay. And they're like, well, at that point, even if they do even if they subsidize even less than $100, they could still charge $699 for it or whatever. And I'm like, okay, makes sense. However, there's one other thing I want to put in there that a lot of people don't realize that they build into the cost. It's just like when you go to a restaurant. I'll use the analogy with the restaurant because obviously, being 30 years into that business, is that when you buy a steak that costs $40, it's not the price of the steak. Well, I could buy it for $8 in the store. And I'm like, that's not how it works. There's a lot of other things that go into that build into that cost that eventually, get you that final price. Now, the other thing is too, let's just say they did subsidize. Okay, fine. They subsidize $63 and it's $699.99. Fine. What you didn't factor in is manufacturing cost on top of that. That's the that you have to pay on top of the production fees. You also have to pay shipping, right? It's not like they're making it outside your front door. You know what I mean? And all of a sudden they're like, here you go. You know what I mean? It's got to be moved. They got to pay. You got to pay boats, planes, truck drivers, all these things. Get them to their areas. Get them into the warehouses. You got to pay the people in the warehouses. That all gets built into that price as well. So even if they subsidize that at $699, or let's say it costs $762, well, you've not factored in all of the post-manufacturing stuff that goes on. Like I said, again, the shipping, the packaging.
Well, there can't be a lot. There can't be a lot added on to Kepler's $760 price point because 3 days before Kepler said that, I made a video where I used my best, knowledgeable, educated guess. And I came to a price point of $750, which doesn't include paying for the box to put it in, paying for the retail export, right? But that can't be that much more money because I'm looking at prices like if you're putting an SSD in there, if you're putting a power supply, I was taking the actual consumer prices, knocking off 40% for wholesale. So the build of materials comes in at $750. We'll just say that Kepler and I are like on the same wavelength pretty much. The build of materials is $750. It's like, do you bring it up to $800? But Mag, you're probably right. It's like that build of materials at $750 is probably a $900 US price tag is what it probably is.
I don't know what they're going to price it at. I'm not going to give a price, but I'm just saying I don't think that any of that was factored into that one.
What would you add to it?
We built one PS6.
How much would you add to it if the build of materials is like, this is how much it costs to put
just to build the one unit? Okay, $762, probably anywhere between $50 and $100.
Yeah, I agree, bro.
Right? Now, at that point, let's say you get up there. Let's say for argument's sake, you get up to $850, okay? Then you subsidize a couple $100, which makes sense with today's market compared to the $100 subsidy that they did in the last generation, or this current generation, excuse me. You could still get away with $699.99. Even if you just subsidize $100, you could still get away with that price. So there is a realistic possibility that thing could still come ringing in at $699. Now, the other thing is, too, we also have to remember, you're trying, like next generation, you're trying to get people to adopt this thing. So, like, even when you raise the prices, let's say for the current hardware, and if you've got a new box coming out, this includes Xbox, in a year or just over a year, you know that all those people that just bought the new box are not going to go out and buy another box 11 months later, 14 months later, or whatever it is, right? You just bought something, right? So I think that they're not really too worried at this point about what happens at the rest of this generation. I think they're more concerned about, we need a bunch of people to adopt the next one so we can kickstart the next gen with the same sort of cadence that they've had for every other generation except for the PS3, which the first while Xbox destroyed them in that first year. You know what I mean? But they caught up on the back end when they started doing a cheap thing. You remember that? You could trade in 10 games at GameStop and get a free PS3 with Uncharted bundled in.
Yeah.
And then, their numbers started going up, right? They knew what they were doing. But anyway, the point is they want people to get in there so they could spring load that next gen. That being the case, I expect to see it to be significantly lower than what we're seeing now. I don't mean significantly lower, around the same, but certainly not the PS5 Pro price. Because that's going to be murder for the beginning of a new gen. They want people to adopt, get into that store, buy games, pay for software, make all that money, get your Fortnite skins, assuming Fortnite's still gone. I hear that's not doing great, but whatever the hot live service game is, you know what I mean? So it's all important. So it's wild, man. And then that doesn't even include Helix. What the hell's going on with that?
Well, I think PlayStation might have a slightly different approach next generation. And I think that might be advantageous to them to sort of support the PS5 a little bit more, instead of just saying, we're all next generation. They might, because of the high cost, they can continue to sell off stock of PS5 and support games made on the PS5 and the PS6. And I think PlayStation especially can kind of marry the both worlds and continue to monetize off of the old generation and the new generation simultaneously, at least for a couple of years. I mean, they've at least hinted that they would probably continue and support their generation for a while. Let me read a couple supers here.
Sorry, 1 second. I want to say something here just quick. Is that in the chat here, some people are saying, I bought a Pro before the price went up. I bought a Pro before the price went up. And that's great. But now the thing is, I'd like to ask them, is that when you look at that situation and you're like, okay, you just bought a Pro. Are you going to go out and buy a PS6 next year? Probably not. So you're going to want at least 5 or 6 years out of that hardware.
Yeah. Or,
you know what I mean?
Or that PS5 Pro is worth significantly more in a year and a half. I'm okay with that. You and I've said that many times, right? If you bought a $500, $600 console, maybe it's worth $350.
Knock that shit off. Sorry. He's being an ass.
Yeah,
calling me
nice.
A pony in the chat. But we are going to make a gentleman's bet with the maggots out there. I see a bunch of maggots out there, and of course, Colteastwood's people out there. We're going to make a gentleman's bet of what we think it's going to cost. I just said it. I could see it being $6.99. If that hurts your feelings, that's too bad. But I'm telling you,
I can see it being $7.99. I'm $100 more than Mag. I think. It's
all right. Let's have a gentleman's bet. Let's shake on the screen.
Okay.
You've already lost.
BT Maverick, thanks for the 5. Says, hold on, just in a moment, we're going to get into the hottest topic of the night. We don't want to make you wait any longer, but I didn't know we were gonna bang on that long about this stuff, but it has to be said, right? BT Maverick, thanks for the 5. Mag, 2-minute discussion on PlayStation Studio closures and price hikes. 60-minute discussion on where Xbox games should land and the PS Portal tablets. Appreciate you, BT. Hopefully, I see you soon.
I love you, buddy. I'll see you in the show tomorrow night, scumbag.
The Kung Fu Hot Dog, thanks for being a member for 37 months. He goes, by the way, he asked me a question today. I am previewing Forza Horizon 6 right now, and he asked me a question. He's like, you didn't answer my question. I'm like, it's embargoed. I can't say anything. He says, Colt Mag, 7th of June, 2026, Gears E-Day will officially become the danger zone. So hyped. A huge test of Asha Sharma wins the fans over. Thanks. Literal Table with the 5 months says, the Mag in the quest for LA is the top left. Killed me immediately. He says, hashtag go Jays go. We're going to get in that in just a second. He says,
yeah. All right.
Analog AI, thanks for that. OK20 says, there's more area in Crimson Desert. I have 50 hours. Yes, I have unlocked a little plus size thing. I've just kind of gone this way and that way in the middle of the map. I've seen literally nothing in almost 70 hours. It's awesome. Steady Steve-O, who I've been talking to while I'm playing the game, says, last year I was born, baby. 77 months is a great... the year I was born, 77 months, he's been a channel member. Says, great topics, great
that's
chat.
Crazy, dude.
Yeah, he's a little bit younger than us. Yeah. He's
only by
awesome.
2 years.
He's awesome.
That's pretty impressive,
guitar
dude.
friend. Yeah, he's awesome.
Great.
He says, June 7th will be fire. Stay frosty, gamers. PCMR for life. Laugh out loud. There's no PCMR. No, it's just more expensive. Dark CMF, my good friend who I met at the showcase in 2022, says, true story, when I met Forrest Whitaker, he was wearing a red velour tracksuit and had Phil Collins playing on a ghetto blaster 100% on brand. That's awesome.
Dude, that's hilarious. You know, I sat next to him in a club. I had no idea he was there. I was sitting there talking with a girl I was dating. Yeah, and it was during the Toronto Film Festival. And so I'm there with this girl I'm dating. This is before I was married. Not obviously. But anyways, all seriousness, I'm talking to her and I'm yapping away at the bar, whatever. And this guy next to me orders a Heineken, right? And then I look over and then he grabs a Heineken and I kind of lean over and he's like, his shoulder's touching my shoulder. And I look over and I look back at her. I'm like, that's Forrest Whitaker. And she's like, who's that? And I'm like, you'll know if you see his face. And then she looked over at him and she's like, oh, that guy from the movies. I'm like, yeah, the guy from the movies. I didn't even talk to him. Like, we were like leaning on each other, but I was kind of embarrassed. I didn't want to say anything. It's kind of cute. Toronto Film Festival, you get to meet a lot of stars. So it's kind of fun.
We should do a segment one of these times about all the famous people we've met. Because Meg and I are old. We've been around a little bit. And then hear from you guys in the chat as well. We'll bring that up sometime. And I want to hear about everybody who they've met is famous.
Broke Boy has met more famous people than I've ever known in my entire life. You know who I'm talking about?
Yeah.
Broke Boy Lewis there.
Yeah.
He sends me pictures all the time, like all the cons that he goes to and everything else. And the pictures he's got with all the celebrities is insane how many people he's met. I mean, I got a framed picture of myself and William Shatner right there on the wall. Love you, Captain.
Awesome.
Awesome. It's great. But like, and I met obviously a bunch of people throughout the years. Yeah. But like Broke Boy, dude.
He gets
that guy might have like he's talked to more people than like someone at the Academy Awards. It's ridiculous how many famous people that guy's met. Yeah, it's wild.
It's good times. So the biggest piece of news, Mag, is that Xbox. I mean, I was so sure they were going to step on a rake after PlayStation closed the studio, hiked the prices of their consoles, and then Xbox turns around and says, "We're doing an Xbox game showcase and we're bringing back Xbox Fanfest." Mag and I are going to dive into everything that we expect to see when it comes to the Xbox showcase. That's going to be stuff that's going to be talked about quite a bit as we get close to. We are 68 days or 67 days away from this Xbox showcase. The crazy thing about this was 2 days ago, I started talking to Mag on the phone about the possibility of how can I get you to LA? How can I get you to be there at FanFest? And we've talked about it like about a month ago, and Mag said it's not possible, and he can explain why. But we've come up with this campaign where you guys can help Mag get to LA, and a lot of it's going to be done on his channel. But Mag, tell everybody what's going on. What's the deal here?
So it wasn't even on the radar to get to LA, just because I got so much stuff going on this year, whatever, a lot happening, and it wasn't in the budget at all. It's still not even really in the budget at all. And I'm just like, but I'm getting a lot of people saying, dude, you gotta go. This is your moment. This is your moment to get out there. This is your moment to push it to that next level. This is your moment to, like, you know what I mean? To get out there and like talk to people and whatever, and start networking and meeting, executives and fellow gamers and YouTubers and all this stuff. It's like, this is your moment. And I'm like, yeah, that's great. Except moments cost money. And it's just not there.
It's been a rough year for Mag, guys.
It's been a rough year. Yeah, it's been a rough year. A lot of stuff behind the scenes. It's been a tough year, and it's been going on since last summer. So there's a lot of stuff going on. But either way, it's fine, and we're all good. But it's just we're trying to get my butt to LA, and so I'm gonna put it. We're starting this initiative of like Mag and the and the quest.
The quest for LA.
The quest for LA. And then, anybody who can help out. And I'm not going to sit here and beg for money, be like, for $2 a day, you can send Mag to LA and you can feed him crackers and cheese for 3 days. I could get Chris Farley to come back from the dead and be like, for the love of God, let the boy go to LA. Let the boy be your dog.
Let Mag mow your yard. Let him mow your yard for the love of God.
I'm going to, for the love of God. And so we're trying this whole thing. I'm like, listen, man, any leg up would help to get my butt over there. And there's nothing going to be greater than to watch me on video drop kick Colteastwood on the beach in LA when he shows up. Yeah. And then I'll be waiting for him at the airport as well, folks.
Guys, I really, I know there's a couple people here that actually can tolerate Mag and like him, but I've been talking to Mag about all this stuff
certainly
for quite
not
a while.
Man.
And this is all just stuff that that Mag has. There's stuff that he doesn't want to say. But when it comes to a very difficult year he's had, like if you guys really want to help him out, he's going to kind of set up some stuff, and he's going to be doing live streams. And if you want to send a couple bucks to, he's going to get a ticker going so that he can he can make his way over, and it'd be amazing because he's been doing the show. He's been sitting here and busting his balls, talking about the gaming news with you guys and with me for 3 years. It's been incredible, and I'm going to do what I can. And if we all pull together, Mag's going to be streaming like he does, 3 times a week, whatever. And I think we can make it happen. But what we got to talk about the whole thing, because I'm hearing stuff behind the scenes about Fanfest that's not confirmed yet, about the size of how many people they're going to be inviting. I can't really say, but it just kind of sounds like it might be less people. But I will remind you, in 2024, Microsoft had massive layoffs. I think they laid off like 3,000 people or something. And so Microsoft said, no Fanfest, it's bad for optics. And Xbox pushed really hard and put together one last minute in 2024. And that's the last one I went to. My wife and I were there with Fonz, Sean the Bree, Dante, Holly, Ben Kenobi, Hargeet Chani. I could just name on and on. Well, those are the people that I was always with. There's so many amazing people. So they're going to do a Fanfest. So this means, what that would mean is they're going to open it up for a lottery, and you can apply. And if you win a ticket, you get to pick one person to go with you, and you pay your own way. And it's awesome. So you get to watch the stream on a big theater in real time. And, Asha will probably be there. Aaron Greenberg, Matt Booty, they'll definitely be there. So it's going to be incredible. I did not see this coming. I thought that this was off the table, that Xbox was done with Fanfest. I said it here, we'd be lucky if we get something at the 25th anniversary, but it sounds like we're probably going to get both. So the Deceiver says, if I win, I pick Mag. Yeah, absolutely. We're going to be reaching out quite a bit. So give me another second here, Mag, as I kind of barf all this out. What Xbox does is you apply for Fanfest. It's absolutely free to apply. And if you get picked, you get to bring a +1 with you. And if you can't go, you can give your ticket, your winning entry, to someone else. And they've done this for a while. So let's say somebody from, one of you guys watching there in Milwaukee is like, I got picked. I didn't think I was going to win, but I can't afford to fly out there. And so I'm not going to go. And so you can reach out to somebody like maybe Meg and say, hey, do you want my ticket? Because I can't go. Otherwise, it's completely in the garbage. And then Mag can go and pick a +1. Well, you'll have to pick the +1 for him. It's a whole thing. We'll talk about it when it gets closer. Holly's in the chat writing, I'm your +1 if you win, please and thank you. Holly really wants to go. I was just talking to my wife about this, and I was like, I might have to go by myself. I'm trying to get Mag to go. And she was like, well, I don't know, I'm not sure, because going, there's a lot to say, Mag. Going to the thing is like Summer Games Fest, the Keeley Summer Games Fest. Like, we'll get tickets to that. You go to that, and then 2 days later or whatever it is, 3 days later is the showcase. And then there's all the hanging out in between. It's amazing. So, yeah, it's, I don't know where I was going with that, but there's a lot to look forward to. Xbox is absolutely on fire. I don't know, Meg, you better start talking.
Yes,
yeah. What do you think?
No, you go ahead, man. I'm patiently listening and whatever. Yes. And by the way, if you guys get me there, you can see me pull Hargeet's beard live and in the flesh, ladies and gentlemen. And then I'm going to run away. You guys can see that. So if you want to help, you can get me to pull his beard live on camera, and I will film and I will live stream the entire situation. And then I'm going to kick King David in the shin, and I'm going to run as fast as I can and never go back. Because if he gets a hold of me, I am literally going to be torn apart like I got attacked by a grizzly bear. But in all seriousness, let's get into this Game Fest talk.
King David's
Game Fest talk, dude. And I'm not exactly like, I mean. Yeah, he's a monster. Can you imagine if he got a hold of me with his like grizzly paws?
You just go.
He just boom. He'd just be like the Predator. Yeah. Just go and just tear me to pieces like Andre the Giant fighting Randy Savage. Elizabeth, this is for you. And they just crushes him. Anyways, in all seriousness. The Xbox showcase. First of all, great idea. I think that it was beyond necessary that when you got the 25th anniversary, what better time to bring it back, right? And so you want to kick off the year of celebration. I would imagine, as I talked about in my video earlier today, is that what they're going to do is they'll have, obviously, a 25th anniversary special in November when the actual, 25-year date is. But seeing that you've got all these people flying to LA or who are already there or whatever to be part of this thing, what better stage to do it on? You got Keeley doing his thing with the FanFest. That brings in millions of people to watch and whatever else.
Look what Hargeet said in the chat.
Oh my God, Hargeet is in the chat?
Yeah, like 7 Up.
Not the beard. Yeah. You're going to have to toss me. If the lines are too big, we're gonna have to. If the lines are too big, you and I are gonna have to toss Hargeet to the front of the line so he can go play Gears of War E-Day. Like, you're going to have to toss me. All right, Hargeet, here we go.
That only counts as one.
Yeah. If
you got the whole Keeley thing. Yeah, go ahead. Sorry, I interrupted.
Right, back to that. So no, that's really funny. So what better stage to do it? And on top of that, you're already trying to build, goodwill with the community. You're trying to rebuild, how Asha's been talking, the way she just started the job a month ago, and you're trying to get, you know what I mean? You're trying to get some momentum going and whatever else. She already scrapped. We already talked about it. She already scrapped this is an Xbox thing, moving on in a different direction. And then on top of that, talking about how, her plans to bring Xbox first or whatever, the community and all that kind of stuff, right? Great. And now what better way to do it is to bring back the FanFest. Well, now you're getting more goodwill from your fan base, right? And the fan base are they're reacting to it positively, right? You see it all over social media today, and they're like, this is fantastic. And like, even in my video today, a lot of people in the comments are like, I'm so happy they're bringing this back. And they said, some people are saying, I wish I could go. And a lot of people who are around there saying, I am going and whatever else. And that's how you do it. You're building buzz. Now, on top of that, you've also got a bunch of flagship titles that you haven't even released yet. You will release Forza, which is 2 weeks before the showcase. So that's going to be fresh in everyone's mind, right? I would imagine they're still going to have it there. Like people, like on the big screen, or people be able to try it, play it, and whatever else, if whoever has it. So I think it's going to be prevalent there. But you still got flagships. You still got Halo, Gears, Call of Duty, and Fable on the docket.
Yeah.
Right? And so you're going to be talking about that as well. This is great momentum. This is positive momentum, and this is how you do it. Now, I've seen the other discourse about people saying, well, they got to make everything exclusive. Like, listen, guys, that's not the plan, and whatever. So we could just forget that idea. Just focus on the Xbox. Just focus on what you're happy with.
There is kind of a wrench in that gear. Shout out to Dark CMF. Thank you so much for the 20. He says, be careful in LA. You may be exposed to some unexpected visual surprises around bus stops. Just saying. Yeah, in 2022,
man, we got the same thing in Toronto, bro. We got the same thing in Toronto. You can find all kinds of funny stuff going on in some of the homeless camps and whatever. And,
we were on one of the main avs, like in front of the Showcase Theater, and some guy detrowed completely to change. Like he was down to nothing and bent over on the street getting change, and I'm like, what the heck what is that?
Yeah, that's wild. Yeah, as you're filming. Yeah. Going live.
So
it's only fans.
Shout out to Dark CMF.
Oh, sorry, they're called unhoused now. We're not allowed to say homeless anymore. Never mind Ghetto Blaster. We can't even say homeless anymore. You have to say unhoused.
Unhoused Ghetto Blaster.
Unhoused.
Yeah. Broke Boy, thanks for 2 goes. And Mag, I paid dearly to meet all those people. Yeah, it is expensive. It's like $50 to $100 to meet like the big people at the con. So, but it's cool. It's really cool.
More. So yeah, let's focus on Xbox and the Xbox community. Be excited. You're going to be getting a lot of great stuff. There's going to be now on top of all this. I can tell you this much. I think now this is just my personal opinion, whether I'm right or wrong, whatever. We'll see. But I just think it's a hunch that not only they're going to show Campaign Evolved, I think there might be a very small possibility they might release it that week. I mean, that'd be a great hype move. I'm not saying it's happening. I'm just saying.
Yeah, why not? Or 2 weeks after the showcase. Yeah.
Just
Paris in chat says.
Yep.
He says, I want to meet Mag. So.
Oh, you will.
We got to make it happen. We got to make it happen.
You will, Paris.
I did talk to a good friend who said he wants to send some funding your way to. So Mag and I were talking yesterday, and we were brainstorming, and his amazing wife came up with the Indiana Jones theme. So I made this graphic that you see up here. No, up here. Yeah. That. Yeah. Let me see it. Make sure I got that right. Well, it's just up here.
It's up there somewhere. How about that?
Yeah, it's up there. That graphic will be on Mag's streams, and he's going to put ticker up there, and I think the community is going to make something really cool happen, and then hopefully those people who are
I'll literally cry on the air. You know that, right? Oh, I will literally cry in the air because I'm listen, man, I may be what I am, whatever, and I come across a certain way, but I'm a softie at heart. Let me tell you something, and I gotta tell you, I'll burst into friggin' tears. But anyways, let's get back to Xbox. I think that they're going to drop this thing. I think they're going to drop this Halo in the vicinity of, and like I said, just a hunch. I don't have any inside knowledge, but the cool thing is, not only are you going to get those flagship titles that we know are coming, and of course, after the show, they're doing the deep dive on E-Day, which blew my mind, by the way, that some people are still saying, so do you think it's still coming out this year? And I'm like, oh, dear God. They wouldn't do a direct if the bloody thing wasn't literally like a mere few months away.
And then Coalition said, let's lock the pho in, like they swore on Twitter. Oh, I declare. I got to talk. I got to shoehorn this in, Mag. Sure. A fellow insider in the industry that claims that Gears E-Day is never coming to PlayStation, like never, which would blow my mind. And I was talking to another friend who is an insider. I'm like, how, like, what are Xbox fans supposed to do when they spent a year and a half, almost 2 years saying their games aren't going to be exclusive? Like, deal with it. What can you do about it, right? Or the other half were like, fight. So, Yo Donnie's like, must be Tim Dog. Well, yeah, Tim Dog has very publicly said he really feels like this game's going to be exclusive. I don't know why you do that. Why would you sell Gears Reloaded on PlayStation the day it launches, which didn't sell very well on either platform, and then yank away the availability on PS5? But there is actually a lot going on behind the scenes with Asha Sharma. She is working, like Mag, you set the scaffolding up really well about how she is supposed to bring back Xbox. So we're going to talk about that right now. What does it mean to bring back Xbox? I will give a couple of ideas of what I think bringing back Xbox is. And Mag, we're going to have to approach this as not what we think is going to happen, but what we think it means to truly bring back Xbox. I think number one is the console, the Xbox console has to be the front of their, I'm thinking about making a video on this, but kind of thinking about, but this needs to be front and center. Like if you've got a graphic that talks about where you can play, the Xbox consoles are huge on the screen and everything else is in the background. Like you got Series S and X, and then your laptops and your mobile devices and your handhelds are smaller in the background. Like this is the foundation of gaming. And the other part I want to say is you have to have some form of exclusivity for your games. Now before I dive into the exclusivity, because I'm going to let Meg take that because you'll have a really good perspective because where you sit. But if I could talk to Xbox, if I could talk to somebody in charge, the one thing I'm going to say to them, let's just pretend I could talk to somebody in charge. I would say to them, one thing you need to do is get the PS5 logo off of your partner preview and your showcase and your developer directs. That logo, the Switch 2 and the PS5 logo, your competing hardware, even though, whatever, I've said it before, that needs to not be on there. Why? Because no one else does that. And I'll tell you why. Because Xbox puts PS5 on there because it makes them look like they're agnostic and they're the good guys and they're all about gaming and they make their games for everyone. What it does actually is it tells the world you can literally buy this anywhere but from us. Xbox pays money and puts in the work to make a partner preview where they show games from these publishers and these developers and these small studios. And then they tell people you can buy this here and you can buy it everywhere. I think the message needs to be, did you like this game? You can buy it on Xbox. And we don't need to tell you that means on PC, on the handheld, and on the Xbox consoles. Or if you don't own any of those, you can play that on cloud. And that needs to be their messaging. Meg, I want you to tell me what exclusivity could change or what they could do or should do. Coming from a guy who plays a lot on PlayStation.
There's a problem with that, is that you're going to, if you're not going to do that, even though they've said that this is their business plan and they move forward. Like, for example, Halo Studios, they literally said, as the guy wore a PlayStation shirt, you remember that? He's sitting on the couch and he's like, all our games going forward are going on PlayStation. And so they're like, okay, cool, whatever. So then all of a sudden, it muddies the waters of messaging yet again, which has been their problem for a number of years since 2013, is their messaging sucks. And it always has sucked since the 360. Let's face it. You want to be honest? Let's be honest. And their messaging is too muddy. And all of a sudden you're like, okay, so what's going on here? This one is exclusive. This one's not exclusive. Halo, you put excuse me, you put Gears of War Reloaded on there on PlayStation, but you're not going to put Gears of War E-Day. There was a reason why Gears of War Reloaded was put on there. It was to whet people's appetite for the actual big release, which would be Gears E-Day. Like, come on. Like, you know what I mean? And then Halo, same thing. They're dropping Halo sometime this year, maybe June. I don't know, but hopefully. They're going to be dropping Halo in there. And then the guys from Halo Studios literally came out and said, all our games are going to PlayStation. Forza Horizon are going on PlayStation. So what exactly are you going to make exclusive? Just Gears? You're not doing Call of Duty.
I mean,
that would be really weird.
You're not.
I'm just saying it's weird.
No, you're not going to do Call of Duty. And when you say muddy up the message,
but I'm saying that's for the streets. So it's like you
Yeah.
put everything else over there, but you're not going to put that one title. That seems really bizarre to me. Very bizarre.
It does. And when you say muddy up the message, I just laugh and then you followed it up with they always muddy up their message. Asha Sharma said the plan is the plan.
She seems to be more clear, though.
Yeah, but someone asked her about exclusivity. Now, keep in mind that Asha has been working with Xbox division for close to a month, right? Before and during. And when she said the plan is, when someone goes, what about bringing back exclusives? And she says, the plan is the plan until it's not the plan. I'm like, that's kind of a weird, I didn't say this like when she said this a month ago. That's kind of a weird reply when I know full well she's probably talked about that question at length. And her answer was, the plan is the plan until it's not the plan. Makes me feel like the leadership she's been talking to has been saying, we don't know what we're going to do with exclusivity. We changed this thing to PlayStation. I also heard that their main marketing beat was the PlayStation the past several months. And so now Asha knows that they have been questioning that decision, and it's up in the air, like it's floating, whether they should bring back some form of exclusivity. Here's my solution. And I said this a couple weeks ago. Xbox needs to have a definitive long-term exclusivity agreement off of PlayStation. And I think that means at least 12 months. I said this on a show like 3 weeks ago, but the statement to their studios should be, you can make a PlayStation version. We're going to give you the time and an allotment for that, but it cannot be till at least 12 months after the game is out. And normally I would say, don't bring back exclusives because the console is too expensive. The Xbox was way overpriced and they can't sell them. But now, since things changed on Friday, Mag, now the Xbox Series X is basically the same price as the PS5. So now it's not overpriced. So now the prospect of buying an Xbox to get a game makes a little more sense, because I would tell people right here, do not buy an Xbox Series console. Go buy one used on eBay. Don't give them their money, your money for that price point. Here's the last thing I'll say. You and I have talked about how they don't have the games that justify exclusivity, but they definitely have a couple of games coming up. And Elder Scrolls 6 is the perfect game to say only available on Xbox and Xbox PC and Steam and Battle.net. But yeah, absolutely. Elder Scrolls and the upcoming Fallout game need to not come to PlayStation. And I've sat here and banged on about how, because, the business sense of selling your games to other platforms, it's like, what are you going to do? Your consoles aren't going to sell like crazy, so might as well make some more money. But now we're kind of in a weird position where they've told us there's going to be no exclusives. And now I really think that things might be a little bit up in the air. And it sounds hypocritical because I don't care either way, Mag. I'll tell you this: ever since the games went to PC,
doesn't affect me.
It doesn't matter.
Like I bought it whenever I have access.
Absolutely,
so
and I bought my Xbox 5 years ago or 6 years ago. When games went to PC, it didn't bother me. I don't care if other people play my games. I don't care if Xbox doesn't sell more consoles than PlayStation or vice versa. that doesn't really matter. Those are only bragging list war things. So those are fun to have when it's time to argue about, hey, which studios are cranking out more games? Which studios have higher rated games? Which studio or publisher is number 1 rated on or number 4 rated on Metacritic? Like that stuff. Like that's a conversation that happens when people tell you Xbox is dog water. But really, why would you even have to answer to people like this? So what form of exclusivity do you think is actually possible, Mag?
The only thing that if no, it's fine. It's fine. It's a deep topic that needs to be sort of dissected. There's a couple of angles here that I'm going to present. The one angle I'm going to say is the money coming in from the third-party publishing. I have a very difficult time believing that Satya and Amy Hood are going to be like, no, we don't want that. We don't need that $500 million that we'll get from, like, let's say, whatever, fill in the blank. Forza Horizon, like they sold 5 million copies of the 4-year-old Forza on there, right? They look at that and they're like, okay, you're about to get a new one in Japan, which is sort of synonymous with PlayStation, blah, 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 right? And they're like, that thing's going to sell like gangbusters, right? Call of Duty's Call of Duty. That's for the streets, just like all my favorite women, outside of my wife, of course. But like, you know what I mean? And then when you got like Gears and stuff too, I mean, is Amy Hood and Satya, who still pull the strings. Yes, you know, Asha does what she does, and she's been given like, listen, this is your job. You're super intelligent. You're super successful in your past. I've looked into all the past companies she's worked for, and her performance records are exemplary. Okay. However, at the end of the day, you still got to answer to the money machine. You still got to answer to the bank, and the bank is still Satya and Amy Hood. And they're like, no, yeah, that's cute. That's nice. Lofty goals. Lovely and all, but we're not, we've already, you know, locked in with third-party publishing. I can't see them turning that around because of the money. I think the money is the thing. I think it's like, idealistically, I understand, but I can't see Microsoft, not Xbox, Microsoft. I can't see Microsoft turning away that money. That's my only stipulation. Now, let's just play devil's advocate for 2 seconds, and I agree with you. I say, okay, Colt, let's talk about exclusivity. Then you know what you do? You do Windows. And I don't mean Windows 11. I mean, you do like exclusivity windows where you could do...
That's what I was thinking.
Sorry, that's not what I meant. As soon as I said it, I'm like, he's going to think I'm talking about Windows.
What kind of window? What kind of window do you think works?
I think what would work is what they are doing with Forza. Like they're releasing it in the spring,
right?
Then they said they're going to release it in the fall, right? 6 months, 7 months, whatever the hell it is. FOMO catches a lot of people. You know how it goes. And, you know, I mean, I think that's the best you could do. Because like I said, this is not me. You know, I mean, I'm just telling you, this is Microsoft you have to answer to, not me, Meg, or Colteastwood with our ideas. We just have ideas and we're talking. We're having a conversation. But at the end of the day, you're still dealing with a no pun intended, a higher power when you're dealing with a division. You're still got to answer to someone else. And that other person is going to say, no, I can't see that. Now, I could be 100% wrong. I could be absolutely wrong and be, hopefully, God willing, standing next to Paris in LA and pulling out Hargeet's beard in one hand and got my arm around Paris in the other hand because he's going to be so tall. And then they'll say exclusive to Xbox with Gears of War. Okay, fine. That could happen. I could be standing there gobsmacked and staring going, wow, they actually did it. They might do that still, but I just can't see from a business point of view and not Xbox point of view, a Microsoft point of view, I can't see them turning down that publishing money. Now that they've already opened that door, I can't see them putting closing Pandora's box again. I think they've opened that door. Now, like I said, worst case scenario, best case scenario, I still think that if they are do something like that, maybe some kind of exclusivity window. But I still don't see that happening.
King Fan Man.
That's just me.
Yeah. I mean, I'm with you too, Mag. There's a little bit of hopium there. Yeah, sorry, Mag said hi, and I was talking over him.
No, I was just saying hi.
Yeah, he's awesome. King Fan Man's awesome. Excellent Bethesda content creator. It's freaking gorgeous. Starfield screenshots, and I'm trying not to play the game because I want to wait for the new update. But he said, I'm going to say in his words, maybe he's just typing a little faster than normal, but he said, you guys are amazing. The chat's moving so quickly, I can't even find it. He said, Elder Scrolls 6 will be a time delay. I think that maybe that's his prediction. Because I don't know if anybody's heard anything like that. But, I think of King Fan Man saying Elder Scrolls 6 being a time delay. King Fan Man and I feel like my skull wouldn't fly off of my neck if Elder Scrolls 6 got shown at the showcase this year. And Todd's like, and it's coming out this November, you know. And you know, stick with me for a second here. If isn't October Call of Duty this year? It's an October game.
No. We speculated October because of Grand Theft Auto. Because I know it's two different games, but I mean, it doesn't matter. There's two different games. It's all about, you know, people's engagement. Everybody's going to be playing Grand Theft Auto. Not everybody, but a lot of people will be playing Grand Theft Auto. A lot of other games are going to get ignored. We just speculated. You and I speculated that the October sounds right.
Yeah, I was trying to think of like a 1 month birth from Grand Theft Auto for Elder Scrolls 6. Like, I don't know if that's possible, but Todd Howard's been kind of weird and dodgy about how he's talked about Elder Scrolls. He acts like it's not coming. He also told everybody that it wasn't Starfield 2.0, and then they just released this laundry list of improvements to the tune of Cyberpunk. Cyberpunk never saw that level of improvements with how many things they did to this game. It's going to be awesome. So
that's next
anyway,
Tuesday.
the point,
I'm gonna re-download it. So I want to give it a shot again. I'm gonna give it a shot. I'm gonna try it out again. Why not? Right?
Yeah, and then you're gonna be playing on PS5 Pro. You're gonna be playing at 60 frames. You're gonna have the Rover.
I'm not playing on PlayStation. I'm playing it on Xbox. I own it on Xbox.
Yeah, that's true.
I own it on I'm gonna play it on the Series X because
maybe I should buy it for you on the Pro. Edition. But
no,
yeah. Anyway,
I already own it. I didn't even play it in Game Pass because I don't do Game Pass anymore. I bought it. I have the game, a deluxe edition. So let's see what happens there. But that's next Tuesday. That's exciting.
Yeah. I'm like, hopefully I can cram in the time because Crimson has me and King
Crimson
Fan
Desert,
Man. Yeah, King Fan Man's loving Crimson Desert, so he's playing both at the same time. He's like this with two controllers.
Those are two big games to digest, dude. Yeah, like that's crazy. Like you got like multiple 100-hour games between Crimson Desert and Starfield. I'm like, my God, who's got the time for all that? And then 10 days after that is Pragmata, and then the avalanche begins. After Pragmata, it's a AAA game every 2 weeks. Until like
if you're not busy enough as it is, you know, Resident Evil just came out a few weeks ago in Crimson Desert. But when King Fan Man's talking about Elder Scrolls 6, like, you know, I talk too much, but he said it could have a slight delay. Maybe the game, you know, has been worked for just Xbox and PC for so long. They're like, let's just get this finished. We're trying to launch at the end of 2026 or maybe middle of 2027. I really feel like it could be that soon, but I could be wrong. That's just how King Fan Man and I feel, diving into our fingers like we do with the Bethesda stuff, that there might be a slight delay, and maybe that's a good opportunity to say, hey, if you need a few more months for the PS5 version, why don't we just make this thing a timed window exclusive to push the brand? Because you can make money on PlayStation, and they have with Sea of Thieves and Forza Horizon 5, but that's it. That's the only money they've made. They've made peanuts on their other games. Like, are you thinking people are flying out there to buy Avowed and South of Midnight and Gears Reloaded and Tony Hawk and all that stuff? Not really. So,
but those are different games.
Someone said in the chat. Hold on. Someone said in the chat, not all money is good money. I love that. And I want to highlight that because I think what they mean is
that's a fair statement. I understand.
You're making good money, but what is it doing to your brand and the momentum and the overall like loyalty of customers who are paying? I'm not talking about fan loyalty. I'm talking about the brand loyalty and recognition has been severely hampered with This Is an Xbox and Project Latitude. So, Meg, I'm glad you said that some sort of window would be cool. It might work for them. I think they need to look at making that happen. Saying, hey, we like you guys on PlayStation. We want to be there for you, just as long as you're okay with waiting. And PlayStation fans have been waiting a lot this generation, and I think they can wait for Xbox games. So let me grab some supers, Meg, and get your brain wheeled up for the next thing here. We've got
let me go to the bathroom real quick. You know how it goes.
Perfect. Yeah. Biff Rinaldi, thank you for the 36-monther. He says, I work at ESPN and go to cons whenever I can. I definitely got you guys all beat. Appreciate you. Going to those cons are awesome. Let me see. Let's see. I'm a guy catch up. You guys are amazing. Thank you. Shout out to over 600 here. Hit the like button. We never ask, but when you do, it sends a magical fairy over to your house and cleans your shoelaces. Sharifi, thank you so much for the Canadian $2.79. Says, thoughts on Mario film and Starfield PS5 enhanced? we don't really normally talk about the Mario. The Mario movie is awesome. So this one will be great too. I'll probably take my family to watch it and it'll be good. Starfield on PS5 is going to look incredible. It's going to be great. Andy Ackerman, thank you so much for the 5. Says, bruh, make a good enough system at the right price and the systems will sell fine. Well, Andy, they're not really priced very well right now. Analog Al, thank you, or Analog AI, thank you so much for the NOK20. Says, Forza Horizon 6 on the Switch 2, Microsoft can just take a bank with that. Yeah, that would be a pretty good game on the Switch. I don't know how that would run on there. I can't say much more. 78 Incorporated, thank you so much for the 10. Says, I'm going to, let me see here. Okay. I'm going to make a prediction. Usher, he says, is likely to restore Xbox games to exclusivity. I think she wants to get back in that community's good graces. My 2 cents, he says. Yeah, I don't know. I think maybe, I agree. I think Asha wants to do something to satiate that missing void that is kind of knocked the brand down a few pegs when they're at their most best. They're at their most bestest right now. Asbestos. They're going to put out 10 games this year, or what it is. I can't remember. They've got like 6, 7 first-party tentpole games. We're probably going to see Spyro 4 or Spyro Reboot. It's going to get announced at the showcase. Yeah, thank you. And
I like Spyro.
That'll probably be announced at showcase and come out at the end of the year. I'll cram it in there in the summer. They're going to have quite a few games. So, Grandpa Barbecue's Game Cat, thank you for the 29 months, says, I think they need to bring out on all except PlayStation. I mean, he's being super petty. Like, why not bring him to Nintendo Switch 2 and just leave PlayStation out of the equation? I mean, the fanboy in us sort of thinks, like, why not? PlayStation literally does every event and never mentions Xbox, until they put Helldivers on there.
Every time they do a thing, you'll never see, even if it goes over there, you'll never see it. But that's marketing. That's how you market stuff. They're better at it. And so, like, you take a page from them if you're doing that. And you brought it up because I did a live stream. I did the live stream on the Xbox Partner Showcase, right? And at the bottom of the screen, what did it say? And the funny thing is, and some of them, it didn't even have the name Xbox first. Xbox Series console said X and S was like the third one in.
Mm-hmm.
And it said PlayStation 5, Steam, and then Xbox. And I'm like, listen, man, if this is your show and you paid money for it and you're trying to get people to be attracted to the brand, your job as a marketer is to market it for the brand.
Well said, Meg. It's also their job to sell those people's games on their platform. I mean,
it's a partnership with Xbox. Then you put Xbox in the goddamn title and nobody else. PlayStation does it all the time. They've been doing it for generations to great success. Look at, I remember I told you about in the store when malls used to be a thing. Remember before Amazon?
Yeah.
And Red Dead Redemption 2 was out, right? And I bought that for the Xbox One X because that was the only one that had native 4K. You remember that? So I bought it for the Xbox, and I'm walking through the store, and at the GameStop, which in those days in Canada used to be called EB Games, and they said right on the thing, it said EB Games, and it said exclusive in big blue letters and red. It said Red Dead Redemption 2. And I'm like, exclusive? I'm like, I bought it for my Xbox One. What the hell is all this? Yes. So then you walk closer to the sign, and then like literally in the smallest writing known to mankind, you need like a Sherlock Holmes, magnifying glass, and it says exclusive hat and slacks when you purchase it for the PS4. And I'm like, oh. But you see how marketing works? If you're doing a partnership with Microsoft and Xbox, then let them do the marketing for them. They paid for it, for God's sake. They paid for the partnership. They are supporting those studios. Then you put that big logo right there and you leave it at that. And then if people want to ask about it later, fine. But like when it comes to that kind of stuff, man, when it comes to business, all's fair in love and war, bro. You paid for it. You should not be splashing everybody else on there. That's just the way I see it. Now,
they should also be sitting there hoping that they can sell those games that they're showcasing on their storefront, because that's where Xbox and PlayStation make most of their money, selling other people's games. I missed one of these super chats with Sir C. Julius. Thank you so much for the 5. Sorry I missed this one, but he says, Dear Colt, F that friend. Much love, bros. Excited for Gears E-Day. Yeah. Hey, if you've got friends out there and you're talking about gaming and you guys have a mutual thing that you love, your favorite hobby, hold on to those people. serve them and be good friends to them because they're super important. Having friends in this industry is amazing. And if you actually get to meet them in person, like I'm hoping with Mag, and if you guys support Mag on this quest to LA, then you'll fulfill a dream of mine as well. I appreciate it. Thank you, Sir C. Andy Ackerman with the 2 says, never forget when Mag said he was the fairy. What was the fairy thing? That was what was that? I remember.
I can't remember. You remember that? I said that, and I said I was the and then I'm like, someo's gonna clip that. And
you said like I'm the guy that waves the wand. I was the fairy, and we all ran with it. It was
that's
great.
Right. Yep. And then there you go. By the way, chat has been on fire tonight. You guys have been so hilarious. Like every time Colt is talking, I'm like snickering in the background going. Because like you guys are saying the funniest thing. You remember when I talked about that Sony thing? It said like Sony was looking into manufacturing their own RAM and SSD or whatever. Yeah. And then Inkabod Crane in the chat says, he goes, actually, there's another company that manufactures RAMs. Dodge. I'm like,
I did see that.
And I'm like, you're talking about something like serious, and I'm sitting there laughing in the back. I'm like trying not to laugh at the microphone. I'm like, the chat is always hilarious, man.
You know how dumb I am, Meg? I was like, yeah, Dodge makes the RAM. Like, yeah, it's funny because they don't call it the Dodge Ram anymore. So I'm just thinking, yeah, of course, yeah, Dodge, yeah, the Ram's made by Dodge, and I didn't even put the pun together because I was too busy thinking. You guys are awesome. Appreciate you. Let's talk about Game Pass because apparently a leaker. What? A leaker said that there's like a new tier called like Triton or Tritian or something.
Correct.
Where only Xbox first party games are in the service. So none of the other fluff. No like cutesy cozy games or interesting indie games or Play Anywhere, like awesome, cool games that are coming in, or not Play Anywhere, but there was a couple games at the Partner Showcase that are launching on Game Pass day and date, like The Expanse, Osiris Reborn, which is absolutely monumentally massive. So I don't know, Mag, what do you think about when you think about Xbox's games they put out this generation and last generation? Imagine a tier where it's Halo, Gears, Forza, Fable, Minecraft, Avowed, South of Midnight, Hi-Fi Rush, on and on, like all these games that they published and put out. Like, would somebody want that, or do you think they've already? I mean, you're looking at like
I have
just
questions.
getting.
I don't have any.
Take it away.
Questions more than like yammering on about this. I actually really don't know what to say, so I have questions I'd like to ask, and I want to know from people in the chat too, and you, of course. My first question is this: what does that mean by first party games? Do you mean like all the games that are already there plus all first party games day and date going?
Yeah, like
forward?
E-Day and Fable and Elder Scrolls 6.
All right. Okay. So that's
like
my
basically the biggest games that Xbox touts are from them, right?
Right.
Like when you think about Game Pass,
my first question. My second one is I saw a lot of people saying put just first party only and then reduce the price. And I'm like, that's what that kind of ties into my first one. But can you do that if you're paying 300 million plus, for like budgets for these big games like your Forzas, your Gears, your Fable? Those are like 200 million and up, maybe even 300 million budget. Like I'm not that high, but we don't know, right? But I'm saying, can you lower the price with those big high budget games? I'm asking. Chat, what do you guys think?
I think they can because Asha was reported as in talks to lower the price of Game Pass. And I
did hear that. You and I both heard that, yes.
Like we talked about it, we slightly talked about it last week, but I didn't think it was something that was confirmed, so I didn't dive in it too deeply. But when I think of lower, I think of bringing the price back where it was, not making this like this amazingly affordable service, but bringing it down to $20 at the top end in the US instead of 30, right? Like chopping $10 off of the high tier and bringing it back. Like, look, this is like if they look at a graph and say, look, Game Pass was doing okay, it was climbing, but it plateaued when you hike the price. And they're like, and then the bean counter's like, well, we're still making the same amount of money. We just get less subscribers because we're greedy a-holes. And Asha, I'm just like spitballing, but Asha's like, no, don't do that. make it so it grows, because when you bring more people, and remember when we talked about how you guys have spent the last 2 years making Xbox look really crappy and pissing off the core fan base and making everybody in the media talk about how Xbox sucks and to stay away from it. That's one of those things we don't want to do. I don't know if she's doing that. I'll find out hopefully soon enough as we dive into more stuff as she makes changes. But the first party only tier is one thing. And then there was the rumor about them bundling with Netflix, and people were like, I don't want more stuff. I want less stuff. It's like, yeah, but when you bundle, if you're already a Netflix subscriber, that may be less money for you. That's how bundles work. Typically, almost always. So I don't know. I think, that
there's a lot of questions, and I'm gonna kind of sit in a holding pattern on this whole situation, because I'm like, I don't know where this is gonna go. I mean, like, I don't control their money. I don't know how they move their money. I could just speculate because of the corporations I used to work for, and I know how they operate. And now the thing you mentioned earlier about them cranking up the prices, what they do, and this is a thing that Netflix does this, Amazon Prime does this. I know people who work in there, and they say the same thing. They're saying, well, when things get stagnant, they raise the price, and the reason for that is that they raise the price because they're not getting new subscribers. So they basically, in a way, financially punish the people who are already there. So they start sticking it to them. And so by doing that, what you're doing is creating basically not fake growth, but you're like fabricated growth. So that when the investors come in for an investors call, Netflix can sit down and say, hi, our growth has gone up 6% in the last quarter, whatever, 7% in the last quarter, and this and that. We're showing growth, but they're not actually showing growth. What they're doing is they're charging the people that are already there. And so by doing so, like I said, it's fabricated, it's fabricated like growth. And I think that was revenue growth. I can guarantee that's exactly what Microsoft was doing when they jacked the price by $10. On top of that, because it wasn't growing to their numbers, they missed their targets several times. They talked about it. If anybody watched the ABK trial, not watch, but read all the transcripts from the ABK trials, which I did, and they talked about their projections for Game Pass. They are way off on their projections. So they're looking at that going, okay, the shareholders are starting to ask questions. We need to show some kind of growth. We got to start charging more. Then it got out there, got ugly, whatever. People left. Some people won't go back. Like, I even saw Destin Legary talking about it the other day, and he was just saying, I'm not going back there. He says, if I want to play a game, he says basically the same as I do. If I want to get a game, I'll just buy it, because not everything that they offer is what he's looking for. Fair. Right? Yeah. But you got a point. Now you got to bring it to a situation as how serious are you about growing the brand and growing, let's say, Game Pass? Is that what the focus is? We don't know what Asha's goals are. We know that she wants to grow the thing, but we don't know in what aspect, right? And so until we find that out, when she's not going to lay all her cards on the table. That's not first of all, that's not the kind of person she is. A, and B, the other thing is that they're not going to tell you, we don't have any real right to know what their business plan is. Their business plan is their business plan. And it's just basically at this point, we are still a consumer and they are someone who's offering us a product. That's all there is to it. There's no ifs, ands, about. We don't work for them. We don't, you know what I mean? We don't need to know all their inner workings, but she might do that. She might lower the price down. She might lower that price down and get people get engaged. I'm not saying it's gonna happen. I'm saying it's possible, because anything is possible, but I don't think I can't see her dropping to $10. I mean, maybe 5. Let's meet halfway. I could say 5 because maybe, like I said, these games are going to be really expensive, and they keep getting more expensive.
I feel like the boot on the neck that Amy Hood was doing, it doesn't sound like it's the same way it was before. I don't know. It just seems like there's more she didn't like leeway. Phil? I think.
You think she didn't like Phil? There's a possibility, dude.
Yeah,
I've worked for corporations. Trust me, man. They'll stab you in the back 9 times over the minute you turn your neck. Okay, they got a bunch of knives in you, so you never know. She might have been trying to push his ass out the door.
Yeah, Meg's got a point. Saying. Like, if you can prove that, like, if she didn't like the way that Sarah and Phil were doing things, Amy Hood. And then she starts squeezing on them to kind of smoke them out. But the squeeze actually means more money, then who's going to argue with her? Like, she's going to get the, it could be like a game of Survivor, right? Like where you're kind of smoking out Sarah and Phil and saying, look, they're not making more money. We need to make that happen. And we're going to have to squeeze for the juice. And then who's going to argue if it means the revenue goes up or the profitability margin increases?
Because it makes you look better, right?
Yeah,
because the shareholders just want to see arrows going up. They don't want to see stagnation, and they don't want to see arrows pointing down.
And they don't care about what gamers want.
No, they don't give a crap about what gamers want. The thing is, at the end of the day, dude, that's their money, and their money is fueling that company. On top of the consumers, of course. I mean, the consumers are obviously fueling the company as well. But I'm saying a lot of that upfront money that they use in order to invest into future products, new tech, all that kind of stuff, that comes from the investors. Those investors will back away. They'll be like, yep, all right, so dude, I'm out. And they'll wash their hands clean, and you lose $1 million, $2 million, $20 million, depending on how big the investors are. So, yeah, you want to show positivity. But, I don't know what she's going to do, man. All I know is this. Is going to be extremely interesting over the next year and a half. I would say year and a half until that new hardware drops, that we're going to see glimpses of what's going on. But right now, what I'm seeing from her is good, is positive. I'm liking the direction. Yeah. I like her. I kind of
that's also
her
a big
vibe,
Microsoft.
Man.
That's a big Microsoft like conspiracy. Well, I mean, it's like they are trying to make sure that the general public or the gaming fans like Asha. Like the whole get rid of the Xbox, this is an Xbox thing, probably wasn't just her decision. It was probably something that's been coming a long time. And they're like, the message is we're going to say this is you. This is one of the things you're doing under new leadership. But this is something that like absolutely was not working for us. You're going to look like the hero, because if we can win over the world as you being the leader of this company, people will follow when you say, here's how we're changing the business, or here's what we're doing next. Because people followed and listened to what Phil had to say because they believed in him.
But you know what you could do that. I don't think here's the thing though. I want to differentiate between the two leadership strategies. When I say I like her, I'm not going to be a bootlicker, and I'm not going to be. Remember that famous clip of that guy? You know that famous clip of that guy, Phil Spencer. Remember that guy? The showcase. Yeah, it's been clipped like a million times. I'm not doing that. I'm just saying I like her because I think she's going to be very nose to the grindstone. Working hard. She's not going to bullcrap anybody. She's not going to be there to make sure that you're in a safe space. I think she's going in there and then look at you straight in the face. And this is why I like her. I think she's a straight in the face, straight shooter, and say, hey, why does your game suck? Or whatever. You know what I mean? I'm filling in the blanks. Why does nobody want to play your game?
Yeah.
Why is nobody subscribing to Game Pass? What are you doing? And not in a nasty way. I just think she's going to be very direct and very proactive. That's what I'm trying to say. I ain't licking her boots.
Yeah.
I'm just saying. Yeah. I think I like her because I think she's what the business needed. And that's no offense to the other people. I'm just saying to the other leadership. I'm saying I think that someone from the outside, and I think Satya was thinking the same thing. You don't become the CEO of Microsoft because you're stupid, okay? You're the CEO of Microsoft because you're incredibly intelligent. And so therefore, I think he knew that he wanted the next stage of them to be someone from the outside who's not going to be bogged down with all the the gaming rhetoric and all the dogma of the industry and this and that. She's able to freely move and be able to maneuver and say, we're going to try this. We're doing this. We're doing this. We're doing this, and face people head on from a business point of view, not from a gaming point of view, and say, what's going on here? How can we make things better and whatever? Yeah. And some things are very simple. You're right. She may not even come up with the Game Fest thing. That might have been someone else's suggestion that she says, great idea. Let's get on it. Make it happen. Let's go. Everybody get off your asses. Grab your coffee. Let's go. Get a Game Fest going. And you know what I mean? And
she probably looks on it from the outside and says,
cool, man.
Yeah, what does this Fanfest do? Like, how much does it? Is it like it's like, oh, it's Asha. It's like $5 million. We go to LA, but it does like this huge moment of where Xbox is the only thing being talked about for 3 days straight. And she's like, it costs $5 million. She's like, well, let me look at the past. Yeah, she's just Asha was probably one of the people that said, yes, let's do that. And some other people were on board with it. Maybe Amy Hood was the only one who didn't want it, but the year before when they canceled it, but I don't know. But it's good to see. And Xbox needs to get back into they make some of the most incredible variety of games, and they've been doing really good. Their games are right on the level of PlayStation, which makes amazing games, and they need to act like it. Boner Jams, thank you so much for the $10 super chat.
What's up, Boner Jams?
Nice, you're going to love this one, Maggie says, heard there will be a new mission in GTA 6 where you'll be under the influence Tiger Woods with an ignition interlock device. Hitting bars and flipping cars will be an absolute treat. Blessings to you as well, Boner Jams. Check out Under the Bus podcast every Wednesday at 5 o'clock. They are awesome, and they just talk about whatever and music, and they're freaking hilarious, and they're a great show. Appreciate you, Boner. So we got Dark CMF. Thank you so much for the 10. Says, for my household, Game Pass or PSN Premium is $160. Game Pass Ultimate is $720 annually because he pays for it for multiple people, or for 2 people because you can share it. Lower price would be welcomed greatly. Where the fudge, Dark, where is the family plan? What the shit?
Oh, they scrapped. I mean, they talked about that for a long time. I mean, there was the revamped achievements, which I was waiting for forever, and then I stopped collecting achievements. I was up to 400,000. Come on, man, it meant a lot to me. And I was up to almost 400,000 achievement points, and then I just stopped because I'm like, I thought you guys were gonna revise them and do some cool stuff, and they did nothing with it. And then the family plan, that was a thing that never whatever. You know what I mean? That disappeared. Yeah. But I mean, at the end of the day, I mean, is it really that bad? Like, let's say, for example, like you got 4 people in the house, right? And like, there's 4 of us. Like, well, I'm on the Xbox by myself in this house. I told you, I live in a stable full of ponies in here. I'm sure that'll make some people in the chat really excited. Sorry,
you have 2 kids?
I have 2 kids. Yes.
Oh, okay.
And I have an Xbox Series X and S for myself, but only them. Everybody else is there are clopping hooves all over this house, man. It's a stable. You know what I mean?
So shout out to Mav, Fun Speculation in chat. He goes, hey Cole, no copying my style, man, because I'm wearing the backwards hat. It's not the pro fit.
Oh, that's right. That's a Mav
shout out
thing.
To Mav.
Go sub to his channel. He's a good guy.
He's awesome.
And he even comes to my show. I don't know why. I mean, that's crazy talk. I don't know what he's doing, but he's there. He was there. He was there last week. Anyways, go sub
Meg,
to
how
Fun
many kids do you have out there running
guy.
around that look like you that you didn't know existed, though?
There's probably 2 of them in Wales.
You had one hot night in Wales, huh?
He or she is probably 30 years old by now. Yeah, I guess probably wondering where Dad went, but yeah. Well, he went for milk on an airplane and never came back. But anyways, the point of what I was getting at is
what were you talking about?
So I got the Xboxes, so that's just me. Okay, so that's just me on my own thing. But everybody else in the house, the 2 kids, my wife, and of course I have the Pro. There are 4 PlayStations in the house, right? And so with that, we're only paying for 4 people. We're only paying for 2 PlayStation Pluses, right? Because my kids game share with each other, and then my wife and I game share with each other. Right. So, I mean, that's not horrible, but it would have been nice to have that Xbox game plan with it, or family plan where you're like, okay, fine. You know what? $25, everybody gets it. You get 4 people, whatever. But they probably looked at that and said, you know what? Do it for a maximum of 2 and that's it, so that we can maximize our profits. Like, I mean, you know, it's still a corporation. They're not thinking about, our well-being. They're thinking about their own well-being because their survival is based on how much money they can make, right? So that
I mean,
sucks,
you could sort of share Game Pass with one other person in the house. Doesn't really work, but yeah, I pay for Ultimate for my son because he uses a lot of the features, and then I have regular for my other kid. It's like and then I have my own, so it just gets really pricey. And then I think, I don't know. Well, I'm different because when we talk about a first party only tier, I usually get those games for review. So that tier wouldn't work for me because I'd be reviewing those games. So they send you the code and everything. So it's kind of I don't know. I think it might appeal to a larger audience than people are like, do I want to play
see them doing that?
Neon
I think
Caster or whatever.
Yeah, I think that the family plan is just gone. I have no basis for that statement. I'm just saying I don't think it's coming back in any way or form. I think if there's anything that's going to be done, I know, and you know, that she's looking at every aspect of the business. We already talked about all that ad nauseum. And then, of course, the last one, the most recent one, because you remember she did the Booty Tour with Matt Booty. You remember when all the studios? So they did that first. Then they did the marketing stuff. She hired 2 new marketers, got rid of the old marketing. There's step number 2, brought back FanFest, step number 3. And then on top of all that, she's been eyeballing Game Pass because that is a big component of that ecosystem, right? Of the Xbox ecosystem. So she's eyeballing that and the options. Now, those options doesn't mean fact. It just means it's saying, okay, lay it all on me. What are we going to do here? Give me some options that we could grow this or whatever else. I absolutely do not think that they're going to raise the price ever. I think it's going to stay at whatever. If anything, it's going to go down, not up. You know, if anything, it'll go down, not up. There's no chance in hell they're going to go up to 35. I mean, you know, with one foot off the edge, that would just take one push and you're done. Like I see it going down, not up.
Yeah, great. I agree with that, Mag. And I think my 5-second answer on what's she going to do to Game Pass, I think she's going to make it a little better. That's my answer, you know. And like you say, Mag, if it means taking it down $5 instead of leaving it as is, even taking it down $5 might do a lot. I mean, no one's ever done that. You don't do that. Maybe that's never going to happen. Like Netflix literally just raised their prices another $6 or whatever it was. Like a few days ago, and my friend Game Seeker is like, I unsubbed, I'm done. I'm not using Netflix anymore. And you never see
Crave. Crave is like our version of like Hulu. It has like HBO and all that kind of stuff. It was almost $30 a month.
Yeah. Like, and it's weird because I was telling somebody the other day, I'm like, with Game Pass, it's different. Like Netflix, you're literally watching $5 shows or movies, right? Like if you go to a movie, it's $12 or whatever. So you're watching a movie for $12, and you watching other shows and other movies, all with one subscription. But video games are not $5 or $10; they're $70. So the price value is kind of a different scale. And you've never seen a subscription service ever in our lives over the past 15 years since subscription services have become king. You've never seen a subscription service go down in price. So the real answer is Asha will come up with some new tier that allows you to pick something that is cheaper and a better value for you instead of gouging you. Let's talk about the Xbox Game Showcase. Yeah, bro.
I want to ask the chat something. I will see what they say. Just even put it like a Y or an N, because I can't control I can't control the polls. And man, I don't own 4 PlayStations myself.
Mag, would you like me to put up a poll?
I was thinking about it. He goes, 4 PlayStations. No, Mag, you're not a pony.
Well, let me write it. Tell me what to write and try to reveal
what
it.
I was thinking
try to unravel it.
Just a yes or no. Just a yes or no.
Okay.
And the question is this. Would you pay $20? Would you pay for a $20 tier with delayed day and date first-party games?
Oops, hold on. It'll be up before I finish typing because of the way the latency works.
Does that make sense? Sorry, the way that I said it. The way I said it.
With delayed first-party games.
Like 6 months or whatever. Like, would you do that?
Okay,
like, I'm asking the question because that probably came up in conversation. I'm not saying it's going to happen. I'm just saying that it could be one of the possibilities because when they do there it goes. I just saw it.
Yeah, it's fast, huh? No was the first vote.
Yeah, it's moving. I'm just asking a question. I'm just curious to see. Like, I'm trying to get a temperature. Trying to gauge like what the audience thinks.
Meg's saying $10 less than you're paying for Ultimate. You get all the other games. You get what's currently there, but when it comes to like Gears E-Day or Fable, if you want to play it on Game Pass, you have to wait or just buy it outright. It's a good question. I like it.
It's like I said, I bet you, when she sits down at the table and says, okay, guys, like I said before, lay it on me, give me a bunch of options. That might have been an option that showed up.
That would be a really tough.
I'm just saying.
That'd be a really tough conversation and decision to make as a person who has not been buried in the Game Pass discussion for years. I doubt she's known anything about Game Pass until about a month or two ago, or I guess she worked at Microsoft and everything. I guess she probably was aware of it, but knowing like that question you ask is so impactful. And maybe you guys are thinking, go ahead.
Remove $5 and get rid of the Fortnite pass, get rid of the Ubisoft,
and make it 15.
Like that kind of thing.
Guys, is Mag's question too expensive, or do you think if he drops it down another $10, like if it's a $10 tier, with delayed first party games, and you're just getting like the filler.
Yeah, I'm just spitballing numbers here. Yeah, like I'm not saying that that's a good.
Yeah.
Magnum, he goes, I reported that poll for harassment and bullying.
Well, I mean, now it's getting closer to half.
Okay, you got to behave yourself. You got to behave yourself, Magnum.
I wouldn't subscribe to that tier, Mag, as someone who doesn't, if I wasn't reviewing games, because when something like Fable comes out and I can have it for basically free, I would really like to have that perk, you know? And, or let's say I'm not a big Fable fan, but it just looks really good and I'm just not sure. Plunking down $70 US is like, you know, you kind of squint a little bit and, you're hoping you'll love the game.
They're going to go up, just so you know. Like, prices are going to go up.
Oh, did you hear the report that, and I think you and I were onto it with a good guess, that GTA is probably not an $80 or $100 game, that it's probably regular price, but there'll be $100 bundle. I think that's like the leak from inside Take-Two lately. So
right.
Anyway,
I mean, I still speculated that Modern Warfare 4 and Modern Warfare 4 and GTA were going to be $80. I mean, Nintendo was already planning on doing it. Borderlands tried to do it. Gearbox tried to release Borderlands 4 for $80. You know, Obsidian was about to release Outer Worlds 2 for $80. I mean, we're on the precipice of them pushing $80 games, and I figure what bigger games in the world would you have that you could start that with and get away with it? Would be Call of Duty and GTA 6. That's why I've speculated. You know, I might be 100% wrong, but
I think you're right, Meg. I think you're right. I think that come November, the $80 AAA juggernaut game is going to push to 80. I think you're right. I think that's going to happen. Chill Hill Productions. Thank you so. No, I think Meg's right. Hey. And let's bookmark it, guys. I think Meg's onto something. Chill Hill Productions. Thank you so much for the 10. Says, said it before, Asha and Satya sitting in a tree. Gaming. Let's go cute. Rangers.
That's cute. That's cute.
Yeah, that's so cute. I love it.
It's funny.
Andy Ackerman, thanks for the 5. Says Activision's $20, Bethesda $15, the rest $10. An entire package is $30. Older games $5 separately. Build your own package. That's like the whole. Just let me get the channels I want for cable instead of spending $120 and having 500 cables.
That.
Yeah, like I don't know.
Like, okay, buy, you know, you could buy up to 5 channels or whatever. If you're using like, you know, pedestrian cable or whatever, so you want to watch sports and all that stuff, you can get like a package with like a choice of 2 channels. I see what he's saying. I mean, if they could do it, if they could do it, Microsoft can do it.
It's just like when you go to subscribe to a thing and then it has all these options and you're like, choose which publishers I want. I don't know what the F this means. The thing with Game Pass is, let's say half of the people that subscribe to Game Pass, Andy, their Microsoft or Xbox probably looks at them as people who aren't as ingrained in gaming. So if you say, do you want the Activision and Bethesda package? They're like, I don't know what that means. Like, I don't, like most gamers would be like, what does Activision make? You know, and that may sound funny, but you know, the casual gamer might be like, I'm not quite sure what Activision has. And like, of course, there'd probably be pictures, but it just seems like a really crazy thing. Hey, hire me and I'll do all the graphics for it and pay me. That'd be great. That'd be a monster job. Analog AI, thanks for another NOK 50, says taking something from gamers never works. Yeah, so like Analog saying like taking away first party games or delaying them from a service they normally thought they would be there may be a cheaper option, but doesn't it kind of come off as like, why are you trying to take things away from me, even if you didn't subscribe to it? So that makes a fair point. And it's a good spitball, Mag. It's a good thing to like mull over because
we're just talking, having some fun. And people get so angry. Not everybody, just like
this chat's pretty good.
They get so mad. They just seethe when you say something. I'm like, oh my God, we're just talking, dude.
Hey, man, people are passionate about that. We spend a lot of money on games
too, man. This is what I do. This is what you know. Like
we lose our voice every night, right?
We lose our voice every night. I mean, this is what we do, man. And we love doing. I love doing this. I love being part of this industry and everything else. It's fantastic. But my God, but people get so like overly like, you know, they start getting angry and they start like, you know, insulting you. And I'm like, I'm just saying something. Like you don't have to go crazy, but whatever.
I'm supposed to be your friend. And you guys support this guy over here. We'll talk about his streams a little bit later, but keep an eye out and in your memory to support this guy. Let's get him to LA. Highlanders Grim, thanks for the 2, says GTA 6 should be a $60 for a big win for all gamers. It's probably 70, could be 80. Let's talk about the showcase. We got to talk about what's happening at the Xbox showcase. There's going to the big direct. How much time are they going to devote to this? What are you expecting? I'm going to end this poll.
I think it's going to be an hour. I think it'll be an hour. It'll be a long show. I mean, that's usually what they do, right? For the showcase, like 45 minutes to an hour, more closer to the hour, right? Or an hour and a half. I think a couple of years ago, if I'm not mistaken, it was almost 90 minutes.
Yeah.
I think that those were a little bit too bloated. Like an hour and a half is a little ridiculous. I mean, that partner showcase that they showed just a couple days ago that we did, the live reaction to, was great. The pacing was good. It moved along. It clipped along nicely. Or something?
How long was it?
It was crazy. And it was great. I didn't have to see like them talking, like, in between like showing a game. I didn't have to see like them playing ping pong in like the office. Or, like,
riding a scooter around.
At Ninja. Yeah. Here at Ninja Theory, we take pictures on the beach and we play ping pong in between. Like, nobody cares.
There's a program in the back, like clipping his fingernails.
Yeah, like it's just we don't need that. I don't need you sitting on the couch talking. You could do that after for people who are interested, but you're doing a show, make a show. Just go for it. And then at the beginning of the show, have someone introduce it or not even. Just have someone at the end. You have Asha at the end, which I think she should have showed up, by the way, at the partner showcase and saying, hey, introduce herself.
Hi.
You're the new CEO. Blah, 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 this and that. And she didn't have to walk in with the pop collar and doing all the, the Phil Spencer stuff. She didn't have to do none of that. Just show up at the end and say, hi, I'm the new CEO of Xbox or whatever. And and myself and the team are working really hard to put together a great showcase for you guys in the summer. Can't wait to see you in LA. Goodbye. That's it.
Look, Yodani Kazada, she does need to be there. Yodani Kazada is so quiet in real life, but he says Ninja Theory is eating salted herring while listening to vinyls of Bjork. Which only old guys like us would get the reference of strange Icelandic
that's really funny.
Artist of Bjork.
Like do that. What do I expect to see? They're going to have a mixture.
Let me ask you
something. It's going to be a mixture of third party. Yes.
Because the chat asked, do you think we'll see another or maybe a little slightly more in-depth reveal of what Project Helix is at the showcase?
Maybe a smidgen, but it's still a year and a half away, so maybe not.
I think they might focus on predicted that they would say announcing Project Scarlett or whatever they were going to call it at the showcase, but they actually did it.
They already did it. So, like, what else are you going to say at this point? Yeah, they already did it. So, like, what else are they going to say at this point? They're not going to have a final form factor of the product.
No,
that's not going to be. My guess is that they're going to do exactly what they did last gen. You'll see it at the Game Awards in December, or in the very least, I mean, you got the 25th anniversary in November, which is just a few weeks away from the Game Awards. I think they'll show it there. I think they'll show it in its final form factor a year in advance, just like Series X. They showed it in the first week of December. It launched in the third week of November.
I'm going to predict that they show they do what they did with Scarlett. They're talking to the engineers and Jason Ronald, like a little on-camera interview, and talk about because they're not just making another console. Because in 2019, I was there at the showcase. They announced Project Scarlett. They showed a guy working on a chipboard for the prototype. They talked about he eats monsters for breakfast. But you're literally talking about another console that everyone expects what another console is. This is kind of a white whale. You don't know what this thing is going to be. You and I know it's like a Steam machine, but with an Xbox brand. So maybe at Showcase, and when I make my Showcase video, I'll probably illustrate this out. They talk about Project Helix. They don't give the name. They don't show the form factor, but they show us what the chip looks like. They did this around the same time, 18 months before launch of the new series consoles. Maybe they show the chip, say it's Project Helix, say that it's going to bring gaming in. It was at the summer showcase in 2019.
Okay,
I was there.
Then they'll do then they'll probably follow the same game plan. They'll do that, and then they'll announce it at the 25th anniversary. I don't think they'll do it in the December because they're going to do the 25th anniversary literally 2 weeks before. So why bother?
Absolutely.
Why bother to do it at the Game Awards when you could do it at your own 25th anniversary and show it there? It's only a mere couple of weeks difference. It's not like they need that extra time to crunch out the trailer. Get it done.
Mag, say why give it to Jeff? Say it. You know you want to.
I can't because I'm going to meet him.
He's super nice. Hey, yeah, why give it to Jeff?
Yeah, I know he's super nice.
But do it.
No, but like they also could save the money on it, but you're also trying for maximum impact of your product. Right? Maximum impact of your product. Yes, the Game Awards is obviously going to have more eyeballs than the 25th anniversary. Let's face it. That's what's going to be. Game Awards gets monster ratings. So that would be good too. But I think they save it for the 25th anniversame because it's theirs. It's theirs. It's their show. Why not show it at your own show?
Tonight. Right. 121P says, yes, show it so we can see Jeff's disappointment. He wasn't as excited as he could have been for a whole.
I think he was shocked
because
he didn't know. You remember that? Because he didn't know that they were going to reveal it because they were hiding it because they didn't want it to get released. So when they did the rehearsals, Phil came out and said something else. And so Jeff was there watching the rehearsals and going, okay, cool. So Phil came out, did a little speech. But what they didn't know is that when he came out and announced the trailer, and that's why Keeley had that look on his face. He's like, what? Because he didn't even know it was coming. And that's good, though. But that's smart because then it would have leaked out to jerks like us, me specifically. And then, people spoil it and it gets ruined. No one wants to be ruined.
It was such a shocker.
It was a shock.
Our good friend Samurai KBG, he's been on here on the podcast, and I've been on his show. He had a viral video, like 1 million views, of his reaction when they showed the Xbox Series X at the Game Awards, and he was like, "Yeah, it was awesome." Yeah. Chill Hill Productions, thanks for the 5. Says, I was so convinced back in 2020 there would be a Series X2 and X3 and X4. Another Microsoft naming scheme bites the dust. I agree.
Yeah, that's true. That was kind of like, I thought it was going to be like the Samsung phones, like an S20, S21, 22, 23, 24, whatever. And it was just going to carry on as like X would be the base and 1, 2, 3, 4. But they might, but I mean, that might be a little bit anticlimactic, I think, at this point. I think everybody's expecting like some fresh new name, fresh new management, new faces. You don't want to call it the X2.
It kind of would do something like psychologically to the fan base, like, oh, it's just called the X2. And even though this thing is a hybrid PC, doesn't mean that it couldn't have like a continuation name, but you're onto something, Mag. I think it's going to be some name that doesn't make any sense. It's not going to be Copilot, but Jez Corden has been talking to people. He is very confident that this is not, we're going to be dead wrong if this is true. This is not their last console. They are planning on moving ahead with another one after this one. They're not done.
Well, I don't think we've said it was going to be their last console.
I have many times. Well, I think you have too.
You really?
Like I think we
have in the heat of the moment, but like, I mean,
I know you
still make hardware as long as there's people buying it.
You and I have said this is probably their last one. They'll make this one, and I've always said that consoles may be kind of going out of fashion in 10 years from now or 8 years from now, which they probably will. But to hear that they're just going to make another one, Jez Corden said many years ago, you can't just kill off Xbox so easily. There's too much attached, like the game library and Xbox Live and network, all this stuff. Like you can't just chop its legs down that easily. There's too much there. And another console, it's like, just make another console. As long as it's making money, this next Xbox is going to be $1,000. I really feel like it's going to be $99. It's going to be the same price as the ROG Ally. It's going to be $999.99. Even with the RAM shortages, I think that's the price where it's going to be.
That sounds reasonable. Like a reasonable guess. I don't say.
And you and I think
price,
that the PS6. And what do we say the PS6 is? Like you said, $700.
I could see $700. I could
say maybe $800.
Maybe not.
So
maybe not. But we'll see. We're gonna have to wait and find out. We don't make the prices, dude. We just talk.
We try to make the prices.
That's what we do.
We're trying to elbow them into.
We can't will prices into their heads. Yeah, they'll say whatever they're gonna say, and then
you gotta get
everybody's entitled to what they want to believe. It's fine. Yeah, like the
what's his name? I don't remember his name.
Johnny Carson.
Johnny Carson. Shout out to my buddy Game Seeker, also known as Goonin for Xbox.
No,
that's not his real name, but he said with the 5 Canadian, he goes, Meg, will Mark Carney slash the PS5 game development by 3 years?
The weekly joke continues, ladies and gentlemen. Yes. Oh, Game Seeker, let me answer that question for you. Kami Carney is going to be slashing everything. That's going to be slashing your rights pretty soon. He's going to be slashing your right to say things on social media with cops coming at your door. Just ask the UK, Game Seeker. It's already there.
He was talking to me about
on the list.
He was telling me that
next
today.
On the list, Game Seeker.
I said, Seeker, you need to come to LA. Like, we can hang out, do the whole thing, and watch the Keeley show. And he's like, I don't want to get arrested. Like, ICE is going to detain me. I'm like, they're not going to detain you. Yeah. Anyway, yeah. He doesn't know how that's going to work. A Seeker, you need to reach out to him and tell him it's going to be okay.
Game Seeker, knock it off. That's not how it works. That's not how ICE works, my friend. But
yeah, just don't bring a nuke
Gaz on the other hand.
Yeah.
100%. I'm making sure he's getting arrested day one. As soon as I get there, I'd be like, you see that guy over there? And then I'll just fill them with lies. And they're going to believe me. They're going to believe me because I'm a nice Canadian boy.
Yeah, good old man with his glasses on. You know, how could you not trust him, right? Yeah.
Can you imagine Gaz all hog-tied, like like the four limbs in the back?
Oh, I've seen it. I'm going
to kill
you! So Coalition sounds pretty excited about Gears. Is this going to be is Gears E-Day going to be the return to form? Because
yes,
Gears Reloaded didn't do it.
I've heard some great things. No, but Gears of War Reloaded is at 20. It was the page. There you go. You want to hear some anti-Sony stuff there for some of those guys in there? Okay, it's like the Sony playbook for the remakes. It was a remake of a remaster of a remake of a remaster. Of course, it wasn't going to sell as well. You know what I'm saying? But I can tell you this. Speaking to a couple of people, let's not say a bunch, a couple of people who've been working on the game and people that work at Coalition saying this game is going to be hot. The game is done. It's ready to rock. They're already they're just doing those little final, the little Bob Ross, just finishing up those trees, happy little accident right over here. Here's a cloud, right? They're just doing they're doing the bug fixes, doing all that kind of stuff. They're getting it ready. Beta's coming. You know what I mean? It's ready to rock, dude. This game is ready. And apparently they're really excited for it. They're really proud of the work they've done. Someone asked me about...
Go ahead. Somebody asked you about... Yeah, it's called Gears of War. Actually. It's called Gears of War E-Day. Yeah, not Gears E-Day. Somebody asked you about what?
Yeah, thank God. Yeah, thank God. No, multiplayer's coming, Jacob. Multiplayer's coming. Mayo, it's your birthday. Everybody say happy birthday to Mayo in the chat. Also, someone asked in the chat about Black Flag.
At the ripe age of 72.
Remasters. Black Flag is still coming. It is it's deep in development. It's actually almost done. It might be year? Now. The latest rumor is it still might be this year. It still might be this year and will be shown at the Summer Games Fest. But that's not confirmed yet because I do talk to people at Ubisoft Toronto, where by the way Splinter Cell is full steam ahead. So don't worry about that. Splinter Cell is full steam ahead, and it's being made at Ubisoft Toronto. So don't worry about it. Those two games are still coming. But Black Flag could be this year, even though they said they pushed it out. It may still come out in 2026, but no guarantees. So we'll have to wait and see. But they're both being made, so don't worry.
And thank you for pronouncing the game Assassin's Creed Black Flag correctly on the air. That's
yes, Randall Thor. We heard it. We heard it. Crispy Bomb, that would be nice if they shadow drop the beta, but I can't see him dropping it right then.
The beta for what?
Maybe like a month later. Like maybe first week of July, they say, okay, July 7th, here we go. Beta drops. Get in there. We'll be doing 3 betas before the game launches in, fill in the blank, late August, early September, whatever.
When was the multiplayer beta for Gears 5, guys, in 2019? Do you remember? Because I remember we never really saw gameplay until that showcase when they showed the Scarlett.
Right.
Project. They had the what were they, MMA guys that were down under the stage playing Gears.
I remember that. That was
and my wife and I got a picture with the cosplay people that Microsoft hired to be Kate and Dell from Gears 5, which is pretty cool looking. I was looking at the pictures today because when FanFest got announced, I was flipping through pictures of the guys from Season Gaming hanging out with Tim Schafer and Matt Booty and Aaron Greenberg and Phil Spencer. And that was like the first one. And then, I've met so many other people throughout those events. So, I don't remember, but it's been an awesome show,
guys. Some surprises. One last thing. I'm not going to say what the game is, but I'll tell you off the air. But I don't want to spoil it for everybody. But there is going to be a reveal for a 2027 game at the Xbox showcase that will be coming from Xbox, obviously.
Okay.
So yeah, and they will be showing one that I'll just say this, one we've been waiting for, and that's all I'm going to say. That's it.
Awesome.
Don't talk about it.
Okay.
We'll talk about it another time.
Yeah. They're already calling for you to be the next CEO after Asha retires. So
I saw what Sharifi said. Yes. Listen, man, Asha's doing a great job, and I'll tell you this: Asha's smarter than me. So let her do her thing, man. Let her do her thing, as the kids say. Let her cook or whatever. Let her cook. Let her do her thing.
Yeah, we appreciate.
Let her do her thing.
We appreciate you guys supporting the show and watching this next 9 or 8 shows or 6 shows or whatever. 6 shows until showcase are going to be huge. Mag and I are going to be diving into stuff behind the scenes. I'll be talking to everybody who thinks they're an insider or people that actually are. We'll be getting everything we can know up to the minute here on the show. But Mag is going to be streaming on a regular basis like he does with the with the Mag Quest for LA thing, and we're going to set up a way for you guys to help him get there. It would mean the world to everybody, especially Mag and I, because Mag is one of the few people that I haven't met yet. There's only a couple people left on my bucket list. Mag, and I can't think of anybody else. Just got to meet Mag. Mag, tell everybody what your streaming schedule is. I don't even have a video in the works. Like, I have nothing. I'm at a loss. Tell everybody where they can find you.
I dropped a video today talking about the game, the game showcase, and then the Fanfest, whatever else. And then yes, every Tuesday night, 8:45 Eastern PM Eastern Standard, I do Magcast. That's always very popular show that I do. And Friday I do Friday Night Live, but I will be doing other shows actually as well. I probably drop another show on Thursday evenings and do another little cast, and I might bring people on. So we're going to see how that all goes down and see. I can't make it consistently on Thursdays, but I will do my best. But yes, we will going to see. So I will be doing extra streams throughout, and then of course I do videos, I do shorts, I do everything on the channel. And yes, the goal the goal is to get to LA, because I mean, I've been wanting to go there since the E3 days, way back before even YouTube was a thing. But I mean, like, none of us were on it. Not even Colt was on it. You know what I mean? And it's wild to think about, like, all these guys that I've been friends with for so long, like Boomstick and I, we've been talking on the phone, like literally on the phone for 6 years now. I've been talking to you for 4 years plus now, like regularly. We talk on the phone. I mean, he was talking on the phone with my wife last night. You know what I mean? And we're all friends, and we've never met each other. You know what I mean? We've never met each other. And there's like a pantheon of all these people that I just love to meet. And not just YouTubers, even like friends and followers of the channel and stuff like that, and fellow maggots and people in Colt's chat and whatever. It'd be fantastic. So it'd be really great. So I really look forward to all of it, and God willing, we can get this thing done. But either way, great show tonight. Great audience. You guys are hilarious. Absolutely hilarious. So yeah,
appreciate you. Just hit the like button on your way out, and we appreciate you guys. Timestamps will be in there. We'll be on Spotify and Apple and other podcast platforms on demand. If you want to listen to the show while you're driving around or taking your commute or whatever, we have people that drive truck that listen to the show. We appreciate all of you. Thank you for support. We're going to get out of here. Have a good one and play some Crimson Desert. It's so fun.
Play some Crimson Desert.
We're out. See ya.